This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. It's Super Tuesday, March 3rd, and I voted, huh?
Yeah.
We're going after Tori. Okay, we get it. You did it first.
Thank you.
That's
I'm
good.
with
It's a
Al,
good thing.
Brandon, Lindsay.
Fix your button.
Thank you. Right here. Yeah. And I'm Tori. We are tracking the latest facts on the coronavirus outbreak here in the States. Right now, there are more than 100 Americans who have tested positive for the virus. 6 have died in Washington State, and New York reported their second case this morning. Now, here's a list of the symptoms for the coronavirus. According to the CDC, they include fever, cough, and shortness of breath. At a White House briefing yesterday, officials said nearly 1 million people in the U.S. could be tested for coronavirus this week. And the head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, Dr. Anthony Fauci, had this to say about what measures could be taken if the outbreak gets worse.
If we get a major outbreak of this coronavirus in this country, that would mean perhaps closing schools temporarily, getting people to do more teleworking, canceling events where there is a lot of crowds in confined places, canceling unnecessary travels so that you're not on an airplane for 5 hours with a bunch of people who might be infected.
More and more officials are talking about possible, and learn to know this phrase, social distancing measures, like limiting contact with people, avoiding large crowds, and of course, washing your hands. We were just saying, what's a good trick is to do it to Happy Birthday song. You sing it twice in your head. That's the right amount of time to wash your hands.
And I read that for social distancing, some companies are actually just letting their employees work from home, and that's a way to be around less, be around people less.
I thought social distancing was what I do when you get on my nerves.
Can we say the task at hand? Discussing something.
I mean, do you think that's a bad thing, though? I mean, do you think that, like, I understand the social distancing, but I kind of I want to interact with people, and I think just retreating to our homes, I don't know.
Well, how does a comic socially distance themselves?
Exactly. You got to fly to shows. And I don't know. I feel like part of being alive is like being around other people, but we got to listen to the doctors.
But I think that we have to remember that what the CDC says that we don't get sickness on the plane as often as we think we do, because the way the air filters is not that it doesn't occur that much. And so even though people do blame it because you hear people coughing and you get sick, it might have been something else on your trip that got you sick other than sitting on that plane. So I think what I did this weekend is just bring hand sanitizer, bring your wipes, and just wipe down everything and be that person.
That's
it's
right.
okay.
And don't be crazy. Don't be crazy. Just be cautious. And we're here to give you the facts. We're not here to overhype it. And we're here to let you know day by day. We'll keep you updated, okay? All right. It's Super Tuesday. Election 2020 is kicking off in a big way right now, as 14 states are voting in the primary as we speak. Last night, Joe Biden picked up some key endorsements from his former Democratic rivals. Take a look at his rally last night in Dallas.
Today, I am ending my campaign and endorsing Joe Biden for president.
March 3rd, 2020, I will be casting my ballot for Joe Biden.
You know, when I ran for president, we made it clear that the whole idea was about rallying the country together to defeat Donald Trump and to win the era for the values that we share. And it is in the name of that very same goal that I'm delighted to endorse and support Joe Biden for president.
A lot of people are saying now this is essentially a two-man race between Biden and Bernie Sanders. A little inside tea, sources saying, according to The Hill, Obama, the Godfather, reached out to Pete Buttigieg and says, you might want to use your leverage and make an endorsement.
It seems like everybody just got on their toes really quickly.
The Godfather made a call, I think, is what happened. Well, of course, Bloomberg will also find out soon enough if that big bet to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars will pay off. Let me answer it for you. It won't.
Bloomberg made a $500 million bet, so we're going to see. He said, or he insinuated that he's going to keep going all the way down to a contested convention if it comes down to that point. He's
Why
gonna,
split the
I think
vote?
his ego. He's like, I want
because
this.
he can, because we've allowed money to penetrate our politics. The
But
fact that
strategically, that's
but the
ridiculously
strategy,
stupid.
the fact that he's allowed to do it makes it a strategy. The fact that he can sit out the entire debates and then show up and do one, but have $1 billion in Facebook ads and be polling at 19%,
Well, I think
should
that he
be
can do what
something
he
that
wants,
concerns
but
us.
we're smart enough to kind of know that we're going to go out there
He's
and
at
vote for who.
19% at one point.
Yeah, why are you not?
Yeah, but then he
dropping out
debated
then?
at one point, and you saw what he did in those debates last week.
I'm not, but that proves my point. He shouldn't have been there.
Yeah,
I would have done that in the debates because I shouldn't be in those debates.
You would be better than Michael Bloomberg in a debate.
Can
Do
I
you agree
ask
with that?
This may be a conspiracy, but do you think that he did that for Trump? To split the vote on this side?
No.
I will say this.
Really think
I will say this, Brandon. I don't agree with that conspiracy theory. I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory, but I do want to ask you about this quickly. I think it's strange that I think it's Bernie versus the established Democrats.
Correct.
Because you look, all the establishment people dropped out and then gave their credence to Biden.
Yeah. It really happened.
But who's still in?
Elizabeth
Warren, who's going to do what? She's going to split, but she's also right now she's staying in the race and she's splitting the people that would get down with Bernie. So I feel like what we are seeing here, because everybody wants to talk about Republicans, Democrats also get paid millions of dollars from donors, and everybody, Republicans and Democrats, see him as a threat. And I don't think it's a mistake that Warren is still in it. And I don't think it's a mistake that all the other moderate Democrats dropped out and immediately bowed to Biden, who's done nothing but embarrass himself when he's opened his mouth.
I want to talk about this more in the break.
All right, we'll talk about this in the break. We got claps over here. We got a lot of reaction to that, Al. Now, one of the biggest.
There was one person that air clapped. There wasn't a lot of reaction.
There was an air clap. He wasn't even making.
Our boss Bird is scrolling on his phone.
Our boss is just not even paying attention. One of the biggest names covering politics in America for decades retired live on air. This was crazy, and I watched it happen. Chris Matthews, host of MSNBC's long-running show Hardball, made the announcement halfway through the show last night after he was accused of making sexist comments to a guest on his show in 2016. Matthews also apologized for his behavior. Take a look.
Let me start with my headline tonight. I'm retiring. Compliments on a woman's appearance that some men, including me, might have once incorrectly thought were okay. We're never okay. Not then and certainly not today. And for making such comments in the past, I'm sorry.
After the show went to break, Steve Kornacki took over the broadcast, and I've got to admit, he even seemed a little surprised by the turn of events, saying Matthews leaving was, quote, a lot to take in. He also had to fill the half hour. I researched this. Turns out they made an agreement about an hour before the show. Chris Matthews told none of his guests, and he was escorted directly out at the half hour and went to his family, who were all crying.
But was the agreement for him to leave at the full hour?
We don't.
I feel like that's a smack in the face. Nobody says, yes, leave halfway through the show.
No, I think he did
even
that
the TV show is going on. Imagine if you just said, I'm not doing this, or half the panel just said, yeah, we're out.
Yeah,
what can you do? You have to throw something together really quick.
Yeah,
but that's a political strategy, right? If he knows anything, it's politics. And what he thinks they did, MSNBC, is kind of, I think, throw him under the bus. He is a lion of the news. He's been a speechwriter for Jimmy Carter. He really is someone we all look up to. Even Meghan McCain thinks he shouldn't have been kicked out this way.
Oh, Meghan McCain thinks it?
No,
Why didn't you lead with that?
I really have a question,
I meant even Republicans.
I have a question, though. How do they choose who they're kicking out over at the network?
It has to do with harassment, I think.
I know, but if you look at it, even the girl who said a racial slur, a lot of people felt that she did. Her name was Allison Morris. She was on the weekend when Kobe died and said something a lot of people didn't like. They never even addressed it. You see, Brian Williams had several things that happened with him as far as lying about something pretty serious, and he has another show after missing for maybe 6 months. It's just like, what is the protocol on who gets let go?
I think that's a fair question. I would like to see that.
But your harassment, the way you described his harassment was, you look nice today. You know,
right,
I agree. That's not Matt Lauer harassment.
I completely agree with you, but NBC, I think, is so worried that they'd rather kick out someone who's also made major gaffes in the last 2 weeks, including mixing up 2 African-American senators.
I think right now, Lindsay, I think it's a timing thing as well. Like, you can get away with saying something, slipping up and saying, allegedly saying the N-word, but right now, if you say something to a woman and it dates back to 1999 when he had sexual harassment.
I would think that there was more gravity in making a comment like that on the morning that Kobe died than making a goofy statement in the makeup.
I'm just talking about the times right now, Al. Like,
we're in the Me Too era.
Yeah, we're in the Me Too era.
I think you're right. I agree with that.
And what does NBC have in the Me Too era? Matt Lauer. So
poster child for it.
Poster child, that's right. We're moving on to the LA District Attorney, who is apologizing right now. This video is insane. Jackie Lacey said her husband is profoundly sorry for what happened yesterday when a group of 50 Black Lives Matter protesters came to her house at around 5:40 in the morning. Video of the moment has gone viral. A warning to our viewers, it does get a little graphic. Take a look.
Good morning.
Get off of my porch. I will shoot you. Get off of my porch.
Can you tell Jackie Lacey that we're here?
I don't care who you are. Get off of my porch
get off
right now.
Can you tell
We're calling the police right now.
Good.
Okay, if you didn't know who that was Jackie Lacey's husband, who was awakened to this, and there's 50 people protesting at your door peacefully, though. No one's armed or anything. Was this crazy, or do you think he has a right to do so?
Can I go first on this one? Because it's not protesting if you're on someone's property. That is against the law to be on someone's property. Now, if you're on the sidewalk, that's one thing. You can have all the picket signs you want. But once you enter my property and I ask you to leave, you are criminally trespassing now. And now they've harassed this woman in public. They've harassed this woman at her work, and she said that she will meet with them at some time. Now, as a husband, you have to protect your family. You have to be there. When you see 50 people show up at your door,
Brandon, I need you to hurry up and get to the gun. What you're saying, everything you said, I completely agree with. I love the fact that this man loves his wife and feels that she is being attacked. I love that the bond that they have. Yeah. Where you lose me is when you go get a firearm for people that do not appear to be violent in any way.
15-second clip.
They were completely unarmed. And let me just give you some history on this. They literally were there because they've been asking to talk to this woman for more than a year. She's a African-American woman in power in politics, and they want to talk about the Black Lives Matter movement. Several people died, you know, in, who was it, Ed Buck's apartment because of getting lethal injections that he allegedly gave, and he's being charged criminally, but it wasn't because of her. They asked her to press charges on him many times, and she did not do it, and so finally the charges were pressed, and they want answers from her. All they did is say, we want a sit-down meeting with this woman who's about to get reelected, and we hope that she has the interest of black people since you are a black woman.
So you do that
in your mind at all? No, I think after a year, you're just showing her there's no time.
You have to go, but protests, Brandon, are not meant to make you comfortable. They're meant to make you uncomfortable. I agree, but a gun is, to me, it's too escalating. But we want to hear from you. You might agree with Brandon here.
I ain't going to Brandon's house.
Yeah, I'm never going to your house.
Tell all the Girl Scouts.
DBL's knock on the door. DBL's live and coming up. Online dating can be challenging for singles of any age, but we've got some helpful tips to make your profile stand out. And well, from dating to marriage to divorce. Who gets the wedding ring when it's time to split? It's a hot topic that's got you buzzing. We're sharing your comments coming up next in Fifth Host. So, sensitivity training. I heard he opened the door with the gun, but that's what I have to say. He opened the door with the gun.
We saw
like he knew that they were protesting. This wasn't the first time they were at his door. He's trying to send a message, which is clear, but they're also trying to send a message, take us seriously. Now, if you're in politics, this is not the first politician that has had a protest outside of their house.
Let me flip it a little. If a guns rights, if 50 guns right activists showed up at your door, would you be a little bit?
With guns? We're talking about people who sit there with nothing. If I showed up at your door with 50 of me, am I a threat? And that's part of the problem, that black people showing up anywhere, just their bodies existing there, is part of the threat. Yes, it was all black people mostly standing at her door.
I'm not saying that 50 people of anything showing up at my door at 5:30 in the morning is a threat.
5:30 in the morning.
You guys would not take out your gun and say, I'm going to shoot you, would you? You might be like, I have a gun, I have a weapon, get off my porch, but you wouldn't be like, I'm going to shoot you.
Why wouldn't you just say, I have a gun? The authorities have been alerted.
If you were in politics and the race is today, her primary race is today, they were there last night.
Do you don't think that footage should be going around the day of the election? Your husband
I don't think
swinging around
protected her.
They weren't there every day. They're there 5:40 in the morning, especially election day.
Especially if somebody has children in his house. I understand that. But I think, first of all, if we're being honest, if there are 50 people out there, that gun's not going to do anything. That gun would get a couple of people.
You get one or two.
Opening your door,
scattering after one or two.
I don't think he was actually going to shoot.
I don't think he was going to shoot.
But there's a difference
between about how if they showed up standing there.
But there's a difference between saying, I'm her voice said, and the police have been called, as opposed to, I'm going to shoot you. That's a difference.
We also didn't see a camera on the other side.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, you didn't see any of that.
50 people.
I'm just arguing the other side, too. If somebody showed up at my door, I'll be pretty mad.
Welcome back to DBL. It's time for Fifth Host, and there are always two sides when it comes to a divorce, and a debate on ring etiquette has you fired up. Marriage is usually symbolized with pricey rings that can also have sentimental value, especially if the ring has been passed on for generations. Many states even have laws about who gets to keep a wedding ring once the marriage ends. But DBL Nation, we want to hear from you. Who should get the ring in a divorce? Ta-da!
Oh, it's my turn. I thought we were talking about it. Sorry.
Welcome back to the show.
I forgot how to do the show.
I like that she was just genuinely pondering. Like, that is interesting. You guys want to get some coffee and talk about it? Let's do it here on the show, Lindsay. Let's get crazy this week. How about we talk to them?
Okay, Sierra from Bishop says, I would take the diamonds and make myself a crown.
Oh no, she can't stop laughing.
She can't stop laughing.
Will divorce me and lost a queen. Listen.
Just defer.
Yeah, maybe just defer.
Liz. All right,
Should
Anna
we
from
defer?
Facebook says, any loser that would divorce me probably would have bought a cheap ring. I say, give it back. There we go. If it was let's say if it was my grandmother's ring or something, I want that back for sure. But if I came out of pocket and paid for it myself, I want the ring back as well, because we're going through divorce, gonna have to get a lawyer, gonna have to get a good lawyer. I'm gonna need that back so I can go pawn it. Bam, Johnny Cochran Jr. got him on speed dial.
Do you like that he kept it when he went, in my pockets, he showed us where the pockets are.
Look how nice the suit is.
It looks really good.
Thank you.
It looks great.
All right, Monica from YouTube says, I gave the ring back and met this girl at the gym who announced she got engaged. Why was it my ring? Wow. You know, well, I mean, I think you got off easy then. That shows you what kind of guy that you were about to be attached to for the rest of your life. And now, unfortunately, she's got to deal with him. Don't forget, the ring is just a rock. It's more of just a symbol of your relationship. That a relationship no longer exists. Why would you keep that symbol unless you want to pawn it? I think the easiest way to do it, the best way to move on, give them the ring back, give them whatever they want back, give them the rug, the bedspread, whatever, just so I don't have to talk to you anymore and I can move on.
Oh, interesting. Moving on is, you got to make a full block.
It's got to be, because anything else that allows for emails to be exchanged.
If you're even following them on Instagram, you're getting the drip, drip, drip of the dopamine.
That's why you had me unfollow.
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay, there we go.
I'm proud of you.
I think it's just self-control.
What's the policy for high-fiving right in front of my face? Like,
exactly.
It worked out well for them. Angela from Facebook says, you should keep it to sell and use the money for a vacation to celebrate being single. What a fun idea. Look, if it's at all an issue, if the ring is over $5,000 and you even have a question, if you write it down on a piece of paper, if we get divorced, this person gets the ring, and have someone sign it.
No one
it's
does
valid.
that. No one does that when they're in love.
They should. It's a napkin. It takes 2 minutes.
Every couple thinks they're going to be the first couple to stay together forever.
And
that's why divorce attorneys will never go broke.
But I'm your fake attorney advising you to do that.
Okay, yeah, that's going to go great at dinner.
Coming up on DBL. Are you okay, Lindsay?
I'm not okay.
Coming up on DBL, a top staffer at the dating app Bumble shares the top things you can do right now if you're looking for love online. We'll be right back.
The death toll continues to rise after a set of tornadoes ripped through downtown Nashville and surrounding areas overnight. Take a look at the incredible video coming into the studio showing the damage. Now, I just checked, and at least 19 people were reported dead, but again, that death toll could rise. Now, we know at least 20 others are in the hospital right now. I'll keep you updated. And some news coming in from Apple now. Have you ever had your iPhone slow down after you updated it with new software? Well, apparently you aren't alone. Apple has just announced it's paying up to $500 million to settle a lawsuit related to the issue. If you owned an iPhone 6, 6 Plus, 6S, 6S Plus, 7, 7 Plus, or SE device bought before December 21st, 2017, you can file to get $25 back. Now, of course, that doesn't really help with the $1,000 phone you had to buy when you're slowed down, but hey, I guess any little bit counts. This has been Fast Blast for you. Did you know that we're live during the breaks every hour on our show? All you have to do is go to Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, and I'll be there to keep you updated on all the breaking news and developing stories, and I will keep you updated on the Nashville tornadoes. Bye now.
Prom season is right around the corner, and so is wedding time. So chances are you're looking for that perfect dress for your special day. But the coronavirus could put a damper on your plans. Let's connect the dots. Sometimes we forget just how many of our items come from China. When it comes to special occasion dresses, reports show 80% of those gorgeous gowns get shipped here from the country. With factories shut down to prevent the spread of the disease, it means everything that goes into making a dress is on hold. David's Bridal says their factories are up and and running with no reports of the illness. But we called around other shops, and most of them say anyone looking to have their dress in 6 months or less are running out of time. Also, even if you've already ordered your dress, some shipping is delayed until further notice. So if the dress you want isn't already here in the U.S.,
welcome back to DBL. It can be a tough world for singles of any age, especially when it comes to online dating. But with the right advice, love is possible for anyone. Earlier today, I got to chat with Bumble's head of editorial content, Claire O'Connor, to get tips straight from the source. Take a look. Claire from Bumble, thank you so much for joining us on Daily Blast Live. I'm going to be real with you. When I think about dating apps, I think about young people looking for hookups, and most older women, I would say, feel the same. So how do you convince a woman over 50 to try out Bumble?
I think that for a long time, there's been this image of online dating as something for Gen Z and millennials. We certainly have seen on our own app folks who, might have come out of a tough relationship, a divorce. They might have kids. Actually, our founder and CEO's grandfather, well into his 80s, was using Bumble. I think the beautiful thing about it is that you can be really clear with what you want. You can use that bio, that profile to say, just to come out and say it, I'm in my 50s. I have not done this before. I'm new to it, so go gently. And if this sounds good to you, let's talk. And I really think that that's a huge benefit rather than just kind of propping yourself up at a bar or just hoping to meet someone in real life.
So can you give me some tips on how to improve my profile?
The first tip actually has more to do with safety. Get your profile verified. You'll get that blue check mark. And that'll help other folks feel confident that you're not catfishing them. Other things to do, take a close look at what photos you're using. I think there's a temptation to put that one gorgeous selfie you love up there and then
Yes.
leave it, or put, a photo from 20 years ago in college where you felt really hot. No one's falling for that, first of all. But second of all, we have data showing that folks who put more than 3 photos are going to have 31% more matches. That's significant. So, on our app, you have 6 slots. Fill all 6 of those.
So now what should I look out for in profiles so that I'm making better matches?
We want you to just, meet folks who you wouldn't maybe consider in your own area. I think one piece of advice that we like to give is to really take a look at your settings. Some folks, especially, if they're somewhere like LA or Chicago or New York, they will pick 1 or 2 miles as their radius. So you're leaving out all sorts of interesting, wonderful people who you're just not going to meet. So widen it out, put 10 miles, 50 miles. The same goes for age. You could be 30 and think, all right, I guess 28 to 32. There's no reason not to just widen that out a little bit. Same could be for someone in their 60s. We really don't see a whole ton of difference there.
Okay, Claire, you made me a fan. I'm a Bumble believer. It sounds like there's hope for online daters of all ages. Thank you so much for chatting with us. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
See, online dating can work for anyone. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Goody. Beauty Blasters, what's up? It's Jeray for the Slay. I've missed you guys so much. I know, y'all miss my face too. I know, the feeling's so mutual, guys. However, I'm back and it's time for some red light tips with your boy Jeray for the Slay. Now, today, it's summer and it's hot out, y'all. It's time to put down that full coverage foundation and pick up a tinted moisturizer. But you don't always have to go out and buy a brand new tinted moisturizer. Sometimes you can make one at home for yourself. So I went ahead and make a little tutorial here, or actually, I'll just show you guys, alrighty? So you're gonna take your full coverage foundation. This one's from Makeup Forever HD. You don't wanna use like a stick or anything like that. You simply wanna use something that's a liquid base and not something that's going to be extremely mattifying. So if you're working with like a oil control foundation, you might want to go ahead and use something that's going to just be full coverage for normal to dry skin. However, what you can do next, if you have that liquid foundation, is take a little bit of moisturizer. I'm just using Embryolisse. This guy's famous in the makeup artist community, so you guys might want to check it out too. And blend those foundations together. Now, you're going to get a much, much more lightweight consistency that's going to be beautiful for that summer glow without having to have that cakey finish in your skin. All you have to do afterwards is tap a little bit with your fingertips and blend all over that beautiful skin of yours. Now, you might want to do a little bit of powder if you're a little bit more on the oily side, like myself, because that tinted moisturizer will make you look a little extra glossy. amazing. And we all love a glow, but we don't like to look greasy, y'all, alrighty? Anyways, guys, I want you guys to try this out at home and let me know how it works for you. You can do this with a Revlon, with a Maybelline, whatever you may. Try it out with MAC too. It'll be looking real cute. And this is a great way, once again, to save some money, honey. So let me know your guys' thoughts on this. Write me at Jeray for the Slay on all social media platforms. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Super Tuesday is the single biggest day of voting. Since there isn't a national primary for presidential nominations, this is as close as we get. And we don't have to go too far back to track the tradition. The first Super Tuesday was in 1988, where several southern states scheduled their primaries together to try to nominate someone more moderate. Today's Super Tuesday is more geographically spread out, and it's less about specific regions trying to swing the election, and it's become more about a sink or swim test for candidates. And if history is any indicator, the winner of 17 out of 18 Super Tuesdays went on to win their party's nomination. This year, 14 states are heading to the polls, making more than a third of all delegates up for grabs on this day. Super Tuesday is big, but still relatively early in the primary process. There will be primaries and caucuses happening until June.
It's been 3 years since Decorius Jones went into the woods and vanished. 11 Alive investigative reporter Rebecca Lindstrom updates us on the case in DBL's True Crime Chronicles. Join the conversation on the next DBL.
Welcome back to DBL. Sleeping in on the weekends can actually hurt your health.
What?
Lindsay's so upset. We're talking about it in today's Rise and Thrive, sponsored by So Clean. According to a new Harvard study, if you sleep in 90 minutes later than usual, your risk of heart disease or heart attack can go up. The more your sleep patterns change, the higher risks you have. But you can change your poor sleep habits, so check this out. Experts say exercise, literally as little as 10 minutes per day of walking, can improve your sleep. Next, get cool. Keep your room between 60 to 67 degrees. Also, avoid nicotine or coffee after mid-afternoon. I got to work on that myself. That can ruin your sleep. And finally, make it dark. Eliminate all bright lights, even the blue light from your smartphone or laptop. And for more ways to rest easy, go to SoClean.com or call 1-800-562-3891.
This is a nightmare. I sleep till like 3 o'clock on the weekends.
You are a late sleeper.
3 p.m. I'm like, ugh.
I could not do that.
My day. 3 p.m. I mean, you kind of wake up at like 1, go make a coffee, lay back down.
8 a.m. on the weekend.
Me too.
That's late
8 or 9.
Yeah,
I went to a 9 a.m. movie.
You know, I like run, and I'm the person that just passes out. Like I don't like break
You
it
said
down.
you put your robe on when you go home.
I'm a grandma, but I still could sleep in very long.
And really quickly, we had a comment regarding you. Molly writes in, and she says, wow, Lindsay really lost it. We're referring to fifth host. Hilarious. Don't forget you're back from vacation.
Yeah, like my job, please, guys, please.
If you guys don't know this about Lindsay, and we want to give you some information, if she starts laughing and it's a certain laugh, it's over, and you can't do anything about it.
It's my favorite laugh.
It's my favorite laugh.
It's my favorite thing.
Sorry I let you guys down.
No.
But I do think you should keep the ring if you were married.
There we go.
We'll see you same time, same
That's a
place
professional.
tomorrow.
Everyone, Kelly Schubert here with the DBL digital team. With the coronavirus going around, we want to show you how to wash your hands. Now, this may seem like something you should know how to do. Apparently, some people don't know how to wash their hands correctly, so we're going to show you how. First, roll your sleeves up, of course. Turn the water on. Get your hands wet. I like to get one hand wet, but you want to make sure you get enough soap. So I like to get like 3 pumps of the soap. We have an automatic one here. Make sure the soap can cover all surfaces of your hands. I actually like to go a little higher on my arms even. So you're gonna rub it in. Then we're gonna start rubbing each side of the back of our hands. Really get in there. Next, in between our fingers, which a lot of people don't think about. And this is actually one that I'm gonna admit to you guys, I don't do this part, but you really should go like this. Make sure you're really scrubbing the top of your fingers there. It's kind of weird to think about. I usually just go like this, but the CDC recommends you do it this way. Next, get it to your fingers. really get in there and make sure you're getting each of them, because so many germs, you really don't want to take the chance. Now, it may seem like we've been watching them for a long time. We really haven't. You want to watch them long enough to sing happy birthday twice. So I think we got a little bit longer to go. We haven't actually been singing happy birthday, but really want to make sure you watch them to the full max. With the coronavirus going around, the flu going around, you don't want to take the chance. This may seem silly, but it's really not. So wash it all off, get up on the arms there. And then, before I turn the water off, I usually grab my towel and turn it off with the towel, because you just don't know who has touched it and who hasn't actually washed their hands and who won't wash their hands properly and then touch it. Guys, this has been Kelly teaching you how to wash your hands. Bye.
Here's what we're talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
Separating fact from fake coronavirus news, we're breaking down the real symptoms and discussing why some are choosing social distancing to stay safe. An abrupt exit and apology from political host Chris Matthews on live TV.
I'm retiring. This is the last hardball on MSNBC.
How a string of recent controversies led to his stunning retirement.
Get off of my porch.
A man greets Black Lives Matter protesters at his door with a gun.
I will shoot you. Get off of my porch.
The story behind this shocking video.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to Daily Blast Live. It's Tuesday, Super Tuesday, March 3rd, right? I'm here with Lindsay, Jeff, Alan. I'm Tori. Sam is on maternity leave and Erica has the day off. Let's get right to it because we're tracking the latest facts on the coronavirus outbreak here in the States. Right now, there are more than 100 Americans who have tested positive for the virus. 6 have died in Washington state, and New York reported their second case this morning. Here's a list of the symptoms for the coronavirus. According to the CDC, they include a fever, cough, and shortness of breath. Now, at a White House briefing yesterday, officials said nearly 1 million people in the U.S. could be tested for coronavirus this week. And the head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, Dr. Anthony Fauci, had this to say about what measures could be taken if the outbreak does get worse.
If we get a major outbreak of this coronavirus in this country, that would mean perhaps closing schools temporarily, getting people to do more teleworking, canceling events where there is a lot of crowds in confined places, canceling unnecessary travel so that you're not on an airplane for 5 hours with a bunch of people who might be infected.
More and more officials are talking about possible social distancing. You're going to hear that phrase a lot. Like limiting contact with people, avoiding large crowds, and of course, wash your hands. A good trick is to sing the happy birthday song in your head twice. That's the correct amount of time you want to spend.
But it makes
like a long time.
It is.
Yeah, I
Somebody
think that's
just did that in front of me in the bathroom this weekend, and I knew it was serious. That's why I brought it up to Tori. They literally sing it, and just that's the proper amount of time to wash your hands. And I used to laugh at people like that who go on the plane and like wipe their seat down and put on hand sanitizer. But I was that person, and I think I saw more people, like 30% of the people I would say that were traveling this weekend had some kind of mask on or were protecting themselves. You know, looked around their space, wiped it down. So I think just be more precautious and just take care, especially while you're traveling or in big crowds, and just there's nothing that we can really do besides continue to live our life just more carefully.
Yeah, right. And look out for the elderly right now in the nursing homes. You want to check on your elderly.
And they say the mask is even good because if you're sitting next to someone sick and you have it, you might protect them from getting it from you. So
really. That's
it's
what the
good
mask
to have.
Is for.
Right.
Exactly. All right. Well, it is Super Tuesday.
Yeah.
Woo! Woo!
Jeff doesn't care.
Jeff's on fire.
Election 2020 is kicking off in a big way right now as 14 states are voting in the primary as we speak. So last night, Joe Biden picked up some key endorsements from his former Democratic rivals. Take a look at his rally last night in Dallas.
Today, I am ending my campaign and endorsing Joe Biden for president.
March 3rd, 2020. I will be casting my ballot for Joe Biden.
You know, when I ran for president, we made it clear that the whole idea was about rallying the country together to defeat Donald Trump and to win the era for the values that we share. And it is in the name of that very same goal that I'm delighted to endorse and support Joe Biden for president.
Now, off the record, people are saying that Obama, the Godfather, did make a call to Pete Buttigieg to say it's time for you to endorse.
For somebody who stepped away really quick and came right back, I thought that like this, a lot of people changed their heart and went behind Biden. It seemed like I would turn around and everybody was behind Biden all of a sudden.
The Godfather picked up the bat phone apparently and made some calls.
I think it's deeper than that. There's Obama, but I think it's different than we always talk about the Republican establishment. We never talk about the Democratic establishment, and they make a lot of money from big donors, just like Republican candidates do. And I think Bernie talking about really getting money out of politics scares a lot of people because I find it very interesting, Jeff, that Buttigieg drops out, Klobuchar drops out. They all go with Biden, who was not remarkable at all during the debates, but Warren's still in, who's going to split Bernie's base because they're both kind of more progressive. It's interesting that she's still in, and how quickly they all fell in line behind Biden, who really, honestly, kind of embarrassed himself throughout the debate. So I don't understand that. I just know it just seems like it's such a weird thing. They're the moderates that are also getting paid millions of dollars.
Very true.
That's what they all have in common.
Listen, I don't know anything about politics. I thought if Bernie would have ran last time against Trump rather than Hillary, I thought Bernie would have won that election. Mm-hmm. I feel the same way with this one. If Bernie doesn't go against Trump and they take Biden, Trump's going to win again.
See, I think if they take, a lot of people think the opposite.
That's just my opinion. What do I know? Who knows?
I don't know.
But guys, you guys forgot about Bloomberg. What about him? He's like in the corner like, hey.
One of the biggest names covering politics in America for decades retired. Oh, I'm so sorry. We're on to another story.
Bloomberg still jumped in. He put $500 million in. I don't know if he's going to get a nomination.
I think Bloomberg made a big mistake. And
I'd rather put it. You should have just put it on Red. It would have been a way better story.
That'd be cool. Just break a casino.
Yeah, check this out.
Red 23.
Man.
Go.
That's my number.
No way.
Yeah.
I'm a mentalist. Okay, one of the biggest names covering politics in America for decades retired live on air. Chris Matthews, host of MSNBC's long-running show Hardball, made the announcement halfway through the show last night after he was accused of making sexist comments to a guest on his show in 2016. Matthews also apologized for his behavior. Take a look.
Let me start with my headline tonight. I'm retiring. Compliments on a woman's appearance that some men, including me, might have once incorrectly thought were okay. We're never okay. Not then and certainly not today. And for making such comments in the past, I'm sorry.
After the show went to break, Steve Kornacki took over the broadcast. And to be super honest, I watched this live. He even seemed a little surprised by the turn of events. Seeing Matthews leaving was, quote, a lot to take in. He was a giant. He had to fill the other half hour. I did some research on this.
Oh, he had to fill out a half an hour?
Well,
5 hours a day.
Good for you.
Come see us, homie.
He's not used to it, Steve Kornacki.
Steve Kornacki's a nice man. Come on, guys.
I will say
don't want this.
Chris Matthews apparently told very few people, not even the guests on his own show. He somewhat, we feel, threw MSNBC somewhat under the bus by just getting up and leaving. He's a giant in this industry, and he felt like he wasn't really given a fair shot, is what the word on the street is.
Before, like Rachel Maddow, Chris Matthews was MSNBC, right? He started the whole network. He was one of the first people there. So this is really interesting that he didn't get like this goodbye, big departure, right? Him leaving mid-show is obviously something went really, really wrong. And I want to know what that conversation was. And if it was something like today's your last day, I want to know how that network decides who they're going to let go and who's going to stay. Because you know that same network had a woman named Allison Morris when Kobe passed, and people think she said a racial slur while that happened. So, and no one did anything about it. They didn't even address it or put out a press release, which I was looking for and waiting for as somebody who used to work there, hoping that they addressed it. So I don't know. And then you have Brian Williams, who has just got another show on MSNBC, so instead of NBC Network. So I just want to know like what exactly he did that made it so abrupt and so. And a lot of people are jumping in his defense, and a lot of people are saying there's no place for doing anything that's harassment-wise in the workplace.
I read what the thing was, and he went up to a lady and said, "Man, why didn't I fall in love with you before?" And then another lady said, "Nice dress. Are you going out on a date?" And I'm like, that's what you got offended about? That's what you got offended about?
That's what I'm saying. People say men are overreacting sometimes when they're a little more cautious like we are, Al. I'm saying maybe not to that extent. But then you guys come at us and say, you don't have to act like that. You could still act normal. No, you can't. Depending on the person and your attitude towards somebody, you're joking around. They are not. That's your job. You know what I mean? So you really have to be careful.
Yeah, and I just think it almost goes, especially in the workplace, beyond, let's forget the sexes. Just anything that I think, if you think about what would pass for a holiday party in 2004, everybody there would be just shot into space now. So all of those, all of the social things that we just kind of took, are now, that's now gone. And I wonder if it's kind of like that old guard that said, like, weird, creepy, semi-offensive, maybe not fireable in everybody's eyes, but now just all that is just, it's a zero-sum game, you're gone. Maybe that's where we are.
And who knows what happened.
Zero tolerance.
Right.
Interesting. Well, the LA District, we're moving on. The LA District Attorney is apologizing right now. This is an insane video. Jackie Lacey said her husband is, quote, profoundly sorry for what happened yesterday when a group of 50 Black Lives Matter protesters came to her house around 5:40 in the morning. Now, video of the moment has gone viral. We want to warn our viewers. It is a little graphic. The husband is the person you see of Jackie Lacey. Take a look.
Good morning.
Get off of my porch. I will shoot you. Get off of my porch.
Can you tell Jackie Lacey that we're here?
I don't care who you are. Get off of my porch right now. We're calling the police right now.
Good.
Okay, so can you give us a little context on this?
Okay, so these Black Lives Matter protesters have been asking this woman to meet with them for about a year. They wanted to know about her response to Ed Buck. He's a man who was a big Democratic donor, donated millions, kind of what Al was talking about earlier, and he had something going on in his home where he would have Black men of color that were gay in his home injecting themselves with certain things that made them die, like methamphetamines. And so this happened time and time again in several cases, but this woman decided not to charge him with anything. And so people wanted answers about why these Black gay lives didn't matter in her while she was overruling this place. So I think that everyone just wanted a meeting with her, and they've been pushing and asking for it normally and civilized, and so they decided to show up at her door. Today is actually primary day, so 5:40 this morning isn't that crazy to show. Before you think you're going to get our Black vote, do Black Lives Matter this time around.
Okay, what do you think about the response?
Oh, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I feel a little weary talking about Black Lives Matter as a white man up here, but if we take race out of this for a second.
We need white men to talk about Black Lives Matter. We appreciate that.
But if we could take race out of it for a second, because I don't want to be up here. I don't want to be that guy. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. I don't want anybody going to anybody's house at any time, okay? I don't think a group of people going to anybody's house is the answer to anything. I think it might, start violence, okay? And I'm surprised, are you on this? Because having a gun is your constitutional right.
Yeah, and absolutely, and they were on the porch, right? So to me, it goes really close to trespassing and stand your ground law like they have in Florida, and I get that. However, something other than I'm calling the cops and I have a weapon is different than I'm gonna shoot you. I think the way Wild West he came out was over the line, but
I thought he was pretty calm for having a group of strangers show up at your door.
Here's what look, I completely, as somebody that has people in his home that he loves and wants to protect, that scene would be scary. My issue is this: a gun always escalates the situation.
True.
And if that's you, and you go out there and you just want to let them know you have a gun, and something happens and that gun goes off, your life is forever changed, your family's last name, whoever is out there, everybody that is associated with that scene is forever changed. And I think the best way to make sure that that doesn't happen is to yell through the door that the authorities have been called. Because once you open that door, even whether you had a brick or a knife, it's just going to escalate things. And I don't want to see anybody that just has a philosophical debate to be dead or maimed or injured because of that.
XOOX just writes in, Jeff is a white man?
very white on this show.
And coming up, Oscar winner actor Timothy Hutton is being hit with new rape accusations. We'll tell you who's coming forward and why. Plus, actor Rob Riggle is channeling his inner Indiana Jones. He's telling me all about his new show that has him trekking the globe in search of adventure. And you, the viewer, are our fifth host. Who gets the ring when it's time to split? It's a hot topic that's got you buzzing. We're sharing your comments coming up next.
Well, I have a question for you guys.
You know what I mean? More comfortable on camera.
Am I not?
Laugh and clap your
Stop! I lost it. I couldn't help it because I was really. Just want to tell you guys, I completely spaced out for a second earlier while I was talking to them on air, and I leaned in and I was like, "This is interesting." Like I was watching the show, and she's like, "You're supposed to do your job now and read a comment."
Well,
but I want to talk about.
back to
so my first
initial reaction was, if somebody came to my door at that time in the morning when in the meeting, I'm like, I would be pissed. I know Kamala would be pissed. Like, I don't blame that guy. But when I thought about it, how many people have shown up to elected politicians' homes
It's not
protesting?
right.
But does it happen often? I don't know if it's like a right. I really don't know that.
Hold on, I do want to clarify something because people just
Turn
write
into something else, right?
I'm talking about showing up to somebody's house and those people pulling a gun on you. I'm not talking about Black lives. I'm not talking about whatever that woman did or did not do to get in that position. I'm talking about what would happen if someone showed up with a gun. So save your comments about whatever you're going to write in about me being white up here and not caring about certain things. Listen, I'm going to show up to your house.
I think we all had that thought. I just want to know why she's not addressing it.
Cleopatra Youngblood says, Jeff, you're the furthest thing from white. You're the vanilla creamer in the coffee, like brother.
Oh, welcome.
I think so. It's happening.
That means we're all mixed together.
I'll take it.
Now you can come to my house.
The thing is, it's like, I just don't want that gun to go off because, like I said, forget this election, whatever is going on in 5-10 years. Your grandkids will remember, oh, Uncle Jeff, the one that shot that lady. That's how you'll be remembered.
I hear you, buddy.
And
I
that's
hear
why,
you, man.
just like it's a different thing. Like once you, that is a split in the road of your family's existence.
But if you're in Florida and someone approaches your door, and Jeff's right,
I'm not
I
saying
can
it's not
shoot you
legal
in the
to own
face.
it. I'm not saying it's not
because
legal.
of
You can carry
stand
a
your
gun.
ground.
How many of those guys in Montana carried a gun into the Supreme Court to show that they could, or the House of Representatives there?
Yeah.
You can. We'll get into that later. But those guys that walked into the courtroom with
Like he has a right to do so, but
you
should
can do anything.
Here's the thing. The things that I get, I'm taking it back to social media. I know we got to go. The things I get written to me on social media, if a group of people came to my door.
Oh, I see.
Do you understand? I don't know who those people are. I don't know what you're doing. You're on my lawn and my one.
Welcome back to DBL. It's time for Fifth Host, and there are always two sides when it comes to divorce, and a debate on ring etiquette has you fired up. Marriage is usually symbolized with pricey rings that can also have very sentimental value, especially if the ring has been passed on for generations. Now, many states actually have laws about who gets to keep the wedding ring once the marriage ends. DBL Nation, though, we need to hear from you. Who should get the wedding ring in a divorce?
Okay, Netta from YouTube says, I gave my husband the best years of my life, and he left me for some young thing. I pawned that ring so fast, I had a new diamond necklace at our divorce proceedings. Well, that's one way to handle it, Netta. I believe that you should keep the ring. I don't think that somebody should give you something and take it back. Like, what is this, 4th grade? Like, keep the ring. You shouldn't have bought it if you couldn't have afforded it. You got to bow out gracefully from the ring. I'm sure the woman bought the man several things in that relationship, and she's not going to go collecting them from the house when they leave. Or else put it in a prenup and then get it in paper.
There you go. That's an excellent thing to talk about before you get married. Steven from Facebook says it was technically a gift, but if a person wants to do the right thing, then they should give it back. Steven, listen, nobody's getting that ring because you know who's getting it? The lawyers doing your divorce proceeding. They're getting all your money. So stop fighting with each other and start fighting about all the lawyers that are robbing Americans blind. 50% of Americans end in divorce. Lawyers are cleaning up. They're the real winners in here. We're all the losers, except me. I'm still married.
And watch our friend of our show, Dr. Drew, has a documentary called Divorce Corp, where they show how the lawyers work together with the judges. Because what they do is they figure, Jeff, you make this much, Jordan makes this much, we'll drain this out 13 weeks, 26 weeks, however long it takes, and then they all go on vacation together. It's all a hustle.
Scam, yes.
Wow.
It's a hustle. A lot of schemes.
Yes.
I didn't even know that.
Yes.
Just keep the ring and just don't hang out with each other anymore.
Yeah.
There you go. That's even better.
Leonardo from Facebook says, I would sell it if it was worth anything or give it back to prove that it wasn't. Leonardo, I think that what's happening is you're understanding how you really let somebody know how you feel. When you give them that ring back, what you're saying to them is, I don't, even with monetary value attached to this, I don't want you in my life. I don't want your energy in my life anymore. Whatever that ring costs, it's worth it for your peace of mind to give it back and move forward and start your new life that doesn't include that person.
Wow.
What if it was an amicable split? You just say keep the ring.
If it's amicable, then you come up with an amicable thing with the ring.
All right.
Amicable?
Amicable.
Amicable.
You said it wrong.
It sounds like
That's what you said.
chemical corporation.
You done?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeez, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
You yelled it.
Sorry.
You vote and then you're getting all huffy.
When did you vote, by the way?
Like 6 a.m.
4 a.m.
She didn't even give us all a chance to vote. She just like, I voted.
It's open? What time do they open?
For Colorado. I vote in Colorado because it's a purple state.
Yeah.
I live here as well. I know you're here.
But you have to be registered in Colorado.
But how do you vote?
I filled out my thing and we dropped it off in a box.
This sounds like
in a box?
Yeah.
It's a care package?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Where did the sticker come
what's
from
the
then?
address?
1-800-NEVER-HAPPENED. No, it did. Come on.
Sorry.
Play 101 with updating your vocab so you can keep up with the Gen Zers, see if you know the most popular phrases.
I know these.
But first, actor, comedian, explorer. I chat with Rob Riggle about his exciting new show that has him crisscrossing the globe to solve the world's greatest mysteries. Do not go away.
DBL Nation, happy Tuesday, happy Super Tuesday. It's your digital break with Brandon. I'm going to get right into that fifth host. Not the comments. I just want to ask my colleagues how they feel about it, because we know how you all feel about it. Rosalind, how you doing there?
Hi,
she's doing a little work. Ooh, I can see myself on the computer right there. Would you give the ring back if you divorced someone?
You know, I would, only because I don't want that memory. I don't want that. I feel like it's almost bad luck.
So you're like, just clean split,
just
you
get
go
rid
your
of
way?
it, you
okay.
take it back.
Which would you rather keep, the dog or the ring?
The dog, what?
The dog, okay, for sure. All right.
How? That's not even a question.
We got Kelly here. What do you mean?
Sorry, I'm Cloroxing my desk.
Yes, as you
Everyone,
should.
make sure you Clorox
As
your
you
desk
should.
every day. You don't know who
and do
sits at
what?
your desk after you leave for the day.
And do what?
I love our camera guys, but they chill on my desk after I leave for the day.
And they should.
Wash your
should-
hands,
okay,
yes.
there we
You
go.
might have seen me.
So, do you keep the ring after the divorce?
I mean, it depends. Like, if we're talking, you're in a relationship where you're both. When I say 20. Oh, I thought she was talking to us. If you're both affluent, if you have a lot of money, I think that should be something that's included in the divorce proceedings. If the ring is worth a lot of money, if it's not, I would give it back. Just
Really?
because
Really quick?
I
Okay.
don't want the bad vibes.
Okay, no bad vibes. Keep
Sorry.
right in. We got Chatting with the Stars next.
Sorry. Check me on.
Welcome back to DBL. Actor Rob Riggle is taking on a new mission to solve the world's greatest mysteries. Earlier, I talked with him about his new Discovery series that combines comedy with history. In today's Chatting with the Stars. Good job, guys.
For centuries, the world's greatest mysteries have baffled the world's greatest minds. But you should never send a great mind to do a hero's job.
What the heck is going on around here?
He is Rob Riggle, global investigator.
Rob Riggle, welcome to Daily Blast Live. So your new show is my dream job. You are the modern day Indiana Jones. It looks like the graphic is even the same, searching for things like the Holy Grail and Atlantis. So I need to know what Rob Riggle's #1 thing to find would be. What would you most want to find?
I think it's got to be the Holy Grail,
Yeah,
right?
Okay.
You know, we're talking about eternal life. If I can drink from it, which I did. I did find a cup, and I did drink from it. And now it's just a waiting game.
Fingers
We'll have
crossed.
to see.
That's hilarious.
Fingers crossed.
Did you feel different when you drank from it? Anything?
I did. I felt a little gassy.
That's awesome. Who knew that's what it would feel like?
So
That's
I don't.
amazing. Now, in this series, you scuba dive, you rock climb, you run into snakes. Some people may not know, but I know you are a former Marine, and I mean Marine. How did your military training help you pull off this series?
Oh, there was a couple things that helped. Probably the rappelling. Please don't let me die in this canyon. The scuba diving. Just being out in the elements. Solving mysteries, kind of what I do. You know, just a sense of let's get out there and see what happens.
Is there things you didn't want to do and had to talk yourself into?
There was a scorpion dinner that I had to
God.
really think about.
Yeah, that turns you gassy too, I heard.
I heard that too.
Sorry. I do want to know, what do you think was the most amazing, most surprising discovery you made while filming?
There's a lot of things around UFOs that I kind of went in a little more skeptical, and I came out a little more accepting of, you know what, there's a lot up there that we don't understand.
Rob Riggle, Global Investigator, premieres March 8th on the Discovery Channel. Rob, thank you so much for your service and for sharing all of your amazing stories with us at DBL Nation.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. He's so cool. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
This is a special DBL break. I'm going to ask our producers who work so hard, especially on the fifth host, our guy, Anthony Harper over here. We're going to ask him about the ring thing. Do you keep the ring after the breakup or the divorce? All of you, go ahead.
Too much juju on the ring, give it back.
Too much juju on that beat?
I think it depends.
Depends on what?
I don't know. The breakup, the way you broke up, how like bitter you want to be, or how nice you want to be, or maybe you just think it was a gift. It's mine, you know.
That's not a gift. Me giving you a toaster or an air fryer, that's a gift. A $15,000 ring, that's not a gift. That's a okay. It depends.
Yeah.
Who buys a $15,000? Just walk
That's a lot.
away from it.
That's a
Just
lot.
like, just if it's not working out, just walk away.
Just walk away from it.
Doesn't matter.
I have an ex-wife who has my $10,000 ring. You know what?
Yeah.
When I gave it to her, that was a gift to her at that time. When I got divorced 18 years later, it's hers.
Okay, 18 years, $10,000. I gotta recoup that. Let's go on over to our hair and makeup staff. What's popping over here, baby? So for the ring thing, do you give it back? Do you keep the ring or give it back?
You keep
the ring. Keep the ring.
Keep the ring? It's not a gift. It's not. I'm not giving you a boss.
Why is it not a gift?
It's.
You bought it for me.
No. I bought it for our wedding, for holy matrimony.
Yeah, but it's mine
and all
now.
that
It's
good
on my
stuff.
hand. It's
And
mine.
you gave that ring to me as a promise from yourself. So it's a gift to me from the person.
It's a promise. Like I promise you, if we don't work out, I promise I'm gonna get that thing back.
No, that's what you do prenups for.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly what you do. So you get a prenup, but I get to keep the ring.
Right.
All right, DBL Nation, keep writing in. You're buzzing online with the comments with should you keep the ring or not. We love to read your comments for all the fifth hosts. We got a couple more shows coming up. So, last but not least, our camera guy, Adam. You know we got to ask him.
What's up?
Do you keep the ring or not? Do you get the ring back?
So I feel like if it was a family ring, you should give it back. If you bought the ring for a certain person, they could pawn it.
All right, we want to hear from you, DBL. We got more of the show coming up next.
That Rob Riggle show looks amazing, and I do have to say, I did let him know that would be your dream job. Am I right?
Yeah. It looks like an amazing job, and to do it with Rob Riggle would be even more of a dream.
He looks for the Holy Grail. And the art, that's so cool.
I'm out of here. I'm on a quest.
That'd be great for us. Here's what's coming up next on DBL.
For your viewers.
Oscar-winning actor Timothy Hutton facing new rape accusations. We'll tell you who's pointing the finger and why she's finally coming forward decades later. Plus, Post Malone's face tattoos, it's not just for looks, the real and raw reason behind the ink. And Slang 101, we're helping you stay current on Gen Z lingo later on DBL.
The death toll continues to rise after a set of tornadoes ripped through downtown Nashville and surrounding areas overnight. Take a look at the incredible video coming into the studio showing the damage. Now, I just checked, and at least 19 people were reported dead, but again, that death toll could rise. Now, we know at least 20 others are in the hospital right now. I'll keep you updated. And some news coming in from Apple now. Have you ever had your iPhone slow down after you updated it with new software? Well, apparently you aren't alone. Apple has just announced it's paying up to $500 million to settle a lawsuit related to the issue. If you owned an iPhone 6, 6 Plus, 6S, 6S Plus, 7, 7 Plus, or SE device bought before December 21st, 2017, you can file to get $25 back. Now, of course, that doesn't really help with the $1,000 phone you had to buy when you're slowed down, but hey, I guess any little bit counts. This has been Fast Blast for you. Did you know that we're live during the breaks every hour on our show? All you have to do is go to Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, and I'll be there to keep you updated on all the breaking news and developing stories, and I will keep you updated on the Nashville tornadoes. Bye now.
Prom season is right around the corner, and so is wedding time. So chances are you're looking for that perfect dress for your special day. But the coronavirus could put a damper on your plans. Let's connect the dots. Sometimes we forget just how many of our items come from China. When it comes to special occasion dresses, reports show 80% of those gorgeous gowns get shipped here from the country. With factories shut down to prevent the spread of the disease, it means everything that goes into making a dress is on hold. David's Bridal says their factories are up and running with no reports of the illness. But we called around other shops, and most of them say anyone looking to have their dress in 6 months or less are running out of time. Also, even if you've already ordered your dress, some shipping is delayed until further notice. So if the dress you want isn't already...
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to Daily Blast Live. Before we get started, Lindsay, you just got back from Paris Week. C'est le Paris, oui, c'est vrai?
I don't know. Bonjour.
Oh my God. Okay, so we're going to be seeing a little video of your trip to Paris in a little bit, but we're teasing that right now. But in one word, what would you say it was? How was it?
Exquisite.
Exquisite. Shut up, Jeff.
That's one word. I got you.
So stay tuned because we have a great video of maybe some people you might know in Paris. But first, we start with a really disturbing story and some serious allegations. Actor Timothy Hutton is being accused of rape dating back more than 30 years. Canadian model Sarah Johnston says Hutton raped her in a Vancouver hotel room back in 1983 when she was just 14 years old. She says she reached a $135,000 settlement with the actor, but backed out of the deal because Hutton wouldn't admit guilt. Hutton denies the allegation, saying this is all an extortion scheme. He is also considering taking legal action against her. But big news here is that Fox canceled his TV show Almost Family shortly after news of the rape allegations broke. So how do you take this? I mean, this is a really tricky conversation. We always want to believe the survivors, I like to say, but there is a time limit in terms of statute of limitations for rape. Now, how does this ring with you guys?
Well, at the time she said it happened when she was 14. I think now she's 50. So she said she tried to come up with a settlement with him, I guess a couple of years ago, and they agreed on about $135,000. And she just said she didn't feel okay with that gag order that comes with that settlement, which is kind of the conversation we were having about the Fox News host. A lot of the women were saying they want to speak now and get rid of that NDA, and she chose to not, I mean, in her story, allegedly chose to not sign it. So now she has her free voice. So it just seems like she can tell her story however she wants now.
Listen, I'm sure I'm jumping to conclusions as well, but I'm want to be sure that Fox did their due diligence on this and not just cancel the show because of some allegation.
Like, it's a bad press.
They actually went through and they're like, well, this woman wasn't extorting. Whatever the case may be, we only know these facts. Is the first time I'm hearing it. So I just hope Fox did their due diligence.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's just like they do internal investigations, and we have to rely on that. Nobody was there except for those two. I guess there were some witnesses, but when things become even just 7 weeks old, much less 25, 35
years old.
It's hard, but I believe her, but I also want to believe him as well because I hope this did not happen.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
So what do you do?
Well, people writing in, please let us know on Facebook, YouTube, how you feel. Last night, The Bachelor broke away from its usual format and came clean about the online bullying many of the women on the show experienced. It was sort of a meta moment. During the Women Tell All segment, Rachel Lindsay read comments she received during her own season. She was the first and only Black Bachelorette in franchise history. Let's take a look.
No one cares about a half Mexican opinion. I'm like shaking as I'm reading this because it's shocking, it's uncomfortable. I know it's uncomfortable for you to see. Just imagine how uncomfortable it is to get this in your comments and your DMs every day, every week, every month.
Wow. Other women also spoke out about receiving hateful comments about their hair and their ethnicity. I want you to take a look.
I was so afraid to. A lot of the comments that I got right away off the show was about my hair and my choice of being natural, and it sucks and it hurts. I had so much love come in, and it meant so much to get messages from people saying that it's important to have representation and thank you.
This brings up a question here we often talk about, which you never understand, is when do online threats become credible and when do they become punishable to make a deterrent?
But yeah, and we'll get to the threat part, but just like I always want to tell people, you know, because I looked at how young that young woman was. I think about how vulnerable I was at 22. I get comments today at 42, and I'm like, man, I'll just be like, wow, that was really mean, dude. Like, I wrote somebody back on Facebook, and I was like, that was a really mean thing you said, but I appreciate that you're watching the show. I don't understand why people do it, but I do want people to understand that if you saw this person that you hate so much, if you saw just a 22-year-old young lady just sitting there, would you go up and say this to her? Would you go up and just try and break down everything that is about her and she's trying to start her life? Would you go up and call her fat? Would you go up and talk about her teeth? Would you go up and, I just don't understand. People do read these comments and it does hurt. I don't know if that's what they want to hear. That people are like, oh, the trolls are going to come at you more. I'm fine. But I couldn't imagine being a young person and hearing this.
Yeah, I can't imagine. And some people get it more than others. And I think the more you're insecure about something, again, I'm taking race out of this because I'm sure they have their own things that they're dealing with. I'm just saying, I'm speaking from my own point of view because I was on some reality shows and I do receive some very nasty comments all the time.
Do you get it every night, Jeff?
Not every. I don't look anymore.
Okay.
I've gotten it so much that I've had to take my focus out of it because I've been down that rabbit hole. I don't use Twitter anymore because it's a nasty, nasty place.
Wow.
I don't like it. I'll share people because I don't want to push everybody out. I've had fans, and I use that term very sparingly. I never use that term, but there's been people, and I want to thank. They know who they are. They've been with me and Jordan since the very beginning.
Sure.
Yes.
They supported every single thing I've ever done, from the CBS Online to watching this show now. Some of our DBL viewers are the people who watch us all the way back. So I don't want to push everyone completely out. I want to have Instagram for them, for my family, for my friends, for my future business. But like Twitter has become too toxic for me. Facebook has become too toxic for me. And I'm being completely honest. We're supposed to be socially engaged on this show. I'm not on those anymore. You could still go check me out and write whatever you want. I don't read those because it's too negative. And like Al said, if you were sitting on a park bench, no one would say anything to you about anything. So you have to take it with a grain of salt. You have to look at those positive comments, delete the negative ones, block those people. And again, there needs to be a law for social media. There needs to be some kind of license. You put in your driver's license number. You own who you are. That's who I am. Now, you want to say that, Al Jackson, you want to say something to me? Now I know who you are. Now I know where I can.
And also, the people that follow your account now know that Mike S. is a person that attacks women, is a person that is fine with the child molester doing something. If you want to be so provocative on the internet, like what was the coach say? Put your name on it. I think it was the former coach of the Bucks, whatever. But yeah, put your name on it.
And I just think like for everybody, when you get into this public space, you kind of sign up for some of these attacks.
Absolutely.
But I think for Rachel Lindsay, what she's talking about is being the first black woman ever on that show after years of the show. So then you get the comments, the same ones that a lot of people saw when Obama became president, that had nothing to do with his policies or what he was doing wrong. It had to do just based off being compared to animals, because of his color of skin. And so those kind of dig even deeper because she fought so hard just to be normalized, right? To be on that show that everybody else has been on, and now you're finally normal, and people want to remind you of this scarred history of this country. So that's kind of why. I
can't even imagine what she's going through because I actually got positive reviews when I went off the show. I didn't get negative reviews. I mean, of course, some of them, but some people get it way worse, and I had a problem with it. Now, and I feel like I'm a strong person. I have a strong will, a thick skin.
It just wears you down.
And it gets to anybody.
Everybody,
yeah.
Interesting. Well, we're moving on to this, which, funnily enough, Jeff has brought up earlier.
Funnily?
It's a word. It is a word. Can someone check if that's a word? Singer Post Malone is known for his face tattoos, but there's a sad and relatable reason behind all that ink. In a new GQ cover story, he reveals he has face tattoos because he's insecure about his appearance, saying, quote, "I'm an ugly bleep, bleep, bleep. So I'm gonna, I don't know what that means. So I'm gonna put something cool on there so I can look at myself and say, you look cool, kid," and have a modicum of self-confidence. Modicum. Modicum.
I don't even know what that means.
Like
Just
an iota, a tiny little bit.
Iota, I know what that means.
If I said, Jeff, let me walk away with just a modicum of dignity, just like let me leave, but like let me keep a little dignity.
For the third hour when I'm hosting, could we just put a little bit in there?
But Jeff, you called this.
Yeah. Listen, I think something is, you're hiding something, you're insecure about something if you're putting something on your face and trying to hide or cover up something from the world.
Right.
And I feel like with more and more celebrities doing things like this, other kids feel insecure and they're like, hey, you know what? They're doing it. I'm going to do this subconsciously, maybe not even know because I don't have a psychiatrist in my life. I'm going to put something on my face because I feel, what did Cindy Crawford's son
put? Says misunderstood.
Right, something like that on my face because it's kind of what I'm feeling at the moment. Not knowing in 10 years, 20 years.
You're branding your skin. Yeah. I think psychologically, I find it really fascinating to mark your face up so that you don't see your face first, you see the things first. It's a lot of people that do a lot of flair and stuff so you don't actually see the real person. Elton John did that, for instance. He put a lot of stuff out there so no one would actually know that he was an addict and in real trouble.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
And tattoos are permanent, but a lot of people will say that they probably 50-50, half regret them, half love them still since they were 18. But he's so young to have them all over his face. It's like it's the first thing you see when you see somebody.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm getting one tomorrow. Just kidding.
What's it gonna say?
Yeah, it's gonna say understood.
How did that?
Or everybody's going with an uphill battle.
That's how much time we spend together.
Yeah, it's sad. That was sad. Now back to our own Lindsay Granger. She just returned from Paris Fashion Week.
I can't even talk as good as you.
You actually went to some of the fashion shows, and I have to ask you about some of the video you brought back with you. I hear you saw Anna Wintour.
I did. So I just happened to get into the show last minute.
If you didn't know.
It was that's her. I'm zooming in her head. Everyone else is so natural and has been there before. And then you have this dweeb who was standing in the back row just like zooming in on Anna Wintour's head, not even watching the fashion of the show.
I'm watching the models. What are they modeling?
It's like a weird kind of, it's Tom Brown and it's all about like guys' clothing, but I think that they just are trying to make it artsy. So like the bags were huge, and I asked my friend, do people actually wear those bags? She's like, no, it's like a very small bag. They're showing you a life-size version of like what the fashion is. So like they had people on stilts, and they're showing you how the clothes would look on like a grandiose tall man, right? But really it would be a suit like this.
Okay, I do have to say, sometimes I don't get fashion shows.
I don't at all.
Sometimes I'm like, is that a wheel of fire I'm supposed to wear with that?
Yeah, it's strange.
Yeah, they get crazy. I had fun. I mean, honestly, I really.
Was that your video?
Yeah, I was completely out of place, just like chilling. But
oh, that's Tom Brown right here.
Yeah, this wasn't that last one. I can't remember the designer's name, but it was. I love that blue dress in the front, and I had her front row seat, and everybody was looking at me like, "Who are you?" Because everyone knows everybody. It's like celebrities, Anna Wintour, and then me in that second show. Just like, yeah, hi.
Is it like going to the opera? Like, oh, I feel sophisticated. I'm here, but it sucks.
No, it was actually entertaining. Like. It was fun. Like they have good music, and then they had celebrities come out. Like what's her name? Janelle Monáe. So I just was kind of people watching. I guess if you do it all the time, you're probably like jaded.
All right.
But I was like,
by the way, funnily is a word, and coming up.
Oh my gosh.
We're keeping your lingo current and teaching you the most common Gen Z slang. We'll finally be able to keep up with the kids. Coming up next. That's so old. I sound so old.
Yeah, we're talking about the opera. I think there's a lot of things that
I hate the opera.
You have to be able to appreciate. It's like almost like when you watch the Olympics and the pole vault there. And you're like, oh, that's kind of cool, but like you don't understand like how the action, unless you pole vaulted and you're like, oh, he really stuck that. Oh, she really used her body to get over that.
And how strong. You know, as I gotten older, I kind of appreciate people with like powerful voices like that. Like I love Andre Bocelli.
Yeah.
You know, like all those guys. So I do appreciate that, but like some of it when it gets too artsy, like when things get too artsy for me, like if there's like a singing opera and like people are like fainting and I don't know what's going on. I'm like,
Yeah.
All right, that's enough.
But I always look and I'm like, that's how many people on the planet is like, I could be totally lost by this and somebody's seen this 3 times.
Yeah.
You know,
and people love fashion shows. I bet it was hard to get in there, huh?
Yeah, so basically the story is like you apply to go to the show, or not apply, you email the PR teams, and they let you know like literally 24 hours in advance and have a courier bring over these invitations to you, to your hotel, and leave it under your name. And so the invitations are like over the top. Like one of my friends received like a bouquet of flowers with like a carpeted feeling invitation that said all her information, her seat number.
Oh, that's
One of them is like a Lacoste, for the Lacoste show, it was wrapped in a shirt, and you open it up and you see the invitation. You can also keep the shirt. So it's like really intense. Like I don't know, but I was like, I was receiving all her invitations because I was home for or at the hotel for most of the day. She went to like 10 shows a day. I went to like 1 with her if I got lucky.
So did you really have a good time, or were you kind of like?
No, I really did. I really wanted to go. Yeah, I wanted to see because I learned that you don't take exactly what's on the runway and wear it, right? Like, so somebody might wear this shirt with the same matching pants with the matching hat. Like, it's meant to be like broken up in pieces.
Yeah, I don't
right?
understand. You know what it is? I make fun because I don't understand.
And it looks ridiculous, like people on stilts in suits. But the idea of the quality of that suit, if you just want to look at the texture, if you saw that suit on a man, you'd be like, oh, that's a great textured suit. But they're just exaggerating to the 100th degree, putting it on.
You were scared to touch my suit because it's 2020.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to ask you first. I did this.
Did you get consent?
Welcome back to DBL. What do Baby Yoda and Megxit have in common? As of this month, both phrases can now be found in dictionary.com. So if this catches you by surprise, you're not alone. Just when you finally understood what spilling the tea meant, and yas, queen, Generation Z comes along. Sorry, I was eating a cheesesteak, with newer slang to make us feel even older. So we're taking a crash course in the Gen Z slang. That way you can finally understand what your nieces, your nephews, and your grandkids are saying. What hip music, huh?
Okay.
Just so you know, Gen Z is usually defined as people born between 1995 and 2010. You guys ready?
Let's do it. High school that year.
Did you really?
My gosh.
You're so old. Here we go. What does the term Gucci mean? And no, we're not talking about the designer.
And
everything's good. Yeah.
Everything's cool, right?
Everything's all good, yes.
Jeff, you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, everything's Gucci. Let's see what it means.
Oh.
Gucci means fancy, nice, or good. For example, wow, she's looking really Gucci today.
Yeah, I think you could also say, you know.
Like everything's good. I think but it means like.
Lindsay and I have a disagreement, everything's Gucci.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, I'm glad we're on the
Or that's just our terms. Maybe it's urbandictionary.com.
Next up, when a teenager says
100%.
Hundo P to you, what do they mean?
Everything's 100%.
I would assume 100% is outside that.
Really hard to prove that it's not.
Yeah, you're right.
I know these.
Yeah,
I never heard anybody say Hundo P.
Have you ever heard anyone say this?
Hundo P, yeah.
I could have figured that one.
But have you heard anyone say this to you?
Yes.
No. But if
I've never
came up to me and she's like Hundo P, I'd be like, I quit.
Yeah. Block her on social media.
Wow, I love the love I get. Hundo P is slang for 100%. For example, I have to agree she was lying to you. Hundo P.
Wow.
Okay. Next, the phrase send it. What are you doing when you send it? I think a fax.
Fax? Not even an email?
I'm kidding.
Is it like, come at me, bro?
Oh, send it.
Yeah, like, you know?
Yeah, I don't know this one.
I would guess like tell the truth. Like
Okay,
if you
tell the truth?
don't say it to me, say it to them kind of thing.
Let's see. What are you doing when you send it? Send it means to do something awesome with total confidence.
Oh, wow.
For
Way
example,
wrong.
when talking to a friend, you could say, go ask her out, send it.
Whoa.
I'm never going to catch up with this stuff. I don't
know. Next, the strange phrase, and you're going to hear me say it. Ready? Nope, that was not a sneeze. I'm going to say it again.
You have to make that sound?
What?
So what does this sound mean?
Is that like tisk tisk?
That would be my guess.
Tisk.
That's the new way the kids say it?
Like maybe be quiet. I'm thinking like be quiet.
It means that I'm calling the school counselor.
Yeah, if anybody did that.
It means laughter or awkwardness. The idea is that the two letters S and K are close on your thumbs on your phone. So when you mash the keyboard in excitement, you get
No, nobody's saying that.
I've never.
I wouldn't even answer somebody that said that. Or that.
Let's go. No one's saying that.
I'd block
It's like shush. I hate when people shush me too.
I hate
Like, don't do
shush.
that.
I hate. Hey, take it down a notch.
Yeah, I don't like this. The whole.
Oh, come here.
I don't like that.
I hate this
Like
too.
somebody I don't know. I don't like that.
Snap.
I like when Blue Ivy did this to Jay-Z and Beyonce, though. I told them to calm down at the award show.
Too much. All right, and finally, if you hear a teen yell yeet, what do they mean?
Come over here.
I would say you.
Yeet?
But you have something fancy on? Like it's cool?
What?
Yeet? So how would you say it in a sentence?
Lindsay's shirt and Jeff's suit is yeet.
Wait, say.
First of all,
I hear them laughing in the controller in my ear.
can I just get up and leave?
Because yeet is a versatile word, but it usually describes something being thrown at high velocity. So for
When are you ever using that?
Throwing a can in the trash, a youngster may yell yeet.
What about Kobe?
Why would you throw it so hard into the trash?
I don't know. I'm so old.
And then
Yeah.
They should have, like, I feel like Encino Man up here. Like, that's how old I feel. Like, we
All right.
hate.
I just learned one TikTok dance. I thought I was cool. Now I got all this stuff to learn.
Well, we gotta go. We are 100% P out of time. We'll be right back.
You said it wrong.
I know.
Could someone be
Welcome back to DBL. Sleeping in on the weekends can actually hurt your health. We're talking about it in today's Rise and Thrive, sponsored by So Clean. So according to a new Harvard study, if you sleep in 90 minutes later than usual, your risk of heart disease or heart attack can go up.
Of course.
The more your sleep patterns change, the higher risk you have. But you can change your poor sleep habits. Experts say exercise. As little as 10 minutes per day of walking can improve your sleep. Next, get cool. Keep your room between 60 to 67 degrees. Also, avoid nicotine or coffee after mid-afternoon because that can really ruin your sleep. And finally, make it dark. Eliminate all bright lights, even the blue light from your smartphone or your laptop. So, do you kind of do this? Can I be honest? Can you tell the people how long you sleep in on the weekends?
I've slept until a solid 3 p.m.
Yeah, you do
on a
that
Saturday.
constantly.
I have a problem.
Crazy town.
But I do like all lights off. So like even if my computer is on, I'll like shut it, unplug it, anything I gotta do. No lights, no TV lights.
Is it hard for you to go back from 3 p.m. to getting up early? Because that's what they're saying, that change is what hurts the heart.
No, but I can sleep. Like if I get in the car with you, I can pass out in like 30 seconds.
Oh, wow.
I passed out at a dinner table before with my best friend.
What's the weirdest place you've ever fallen asleep?
Probably at the dinner table. She was pissed.
Yeah, I get that.
She's just like, hello, I had a whole conversation with you about life and love and you're sleeping. And I literally was like, I woke up and realized I was sleeping and I'm like, you should just get some rest and it'll all be better. And she was like, get some rest. You were the only one sleeping at the table.
But that, you know,
I was that tired.
That does make sense in terms of being completely dark because I noticed I don't get as good a night because I had an overnight flight, not last night but the night before, and I feel like I didn't sleep well because it's kind of like the plane from the light from outside the plane, the light from inside, and you just don't get that real sleep. But I do the sleep mask.
So is your sleep mask like "Kiss Me, I'm Famous" or is it just like black?
I don't think that's anybody's sleep mask.
Okay.
No, mine's just. It says "Kiss Me, I'm Famous."
Kiss Me, I'm Famous.
Who lied to you?
Someone did. I think my sister.
But you have like deluxe with the headphones.
Yeah, it comes with Bluetooth from Deal Blast, and I like it really like thick and hard. I don't want to see anything.
So you hear your music too? You can hear your music?
You can, but I haven't set it up.
What are you waiting for?
I know.
think we're done.
Okay, we're done?
I want to know about Jeff sleep habits, though.
Good?
20 seconds.
Okay, we're good.
Jeff sleeps with the TV on, which I cannot do.
No, I would kill you, Jeff. That's crazy.
Yeah, I can't do that.
And you watch what, Curb or something? Curb Your Enthusiasm?
I would never go to bed if Curb Your Enthusiasm was on. That show's hilarious.
No? What is it? All right, cool. What's your social security number? We'll be right back.
And for more ways to rest easy, go to SoClean.com or call 1-800-562-3891.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Hello. Beauty Blasters, what's up? It's Jeray for the Slay. I've missed you guys so much. I know, y'all miss my face too. I know, the feeling's so mutual, guys. However, I'm back and it's time for some red light tips with your boy Jeray for the Slay. Now, today, it's summer and it's hot out, y'all. It's time to put down that full coverage foundation and pick up a tinted moisturizer. But you don't always have to go out and buy a brand new tinted moisturizer. Sometimes you can make one at home for yourself. So I went ahead and make a little tutorial here, or actually, I'll just show you guys, alrighty? So you're gonna take your full coverage foundation. This one's from Makeup Forever HD. You don't wanna use like a stick or anything like that. You simply wanna use something that's a liquid base and not something that's going to be extremely mattifying. So if you're working with like a oil control foundation, you might want to go ahead and use something that's going to just be full coverage for normal to dry skin. However, what you can do next, if you have that liquid foundation, is take a little bit of moisturizer. I'm just using Embryolisse. This guy's famous in the makeup artist community, so you guys might want to check it out too. And blend those foundations together. Now, you're going to get a much, much more lightweight consistency that's going to be beautiful for that summer glow without having to have that cakey finish in your skin. All you have to do afterwards is tap a little bit with your fingertips and blend all over that beautiful skin of yours. Now, you might want to do a little bit of powder if you're a little bit more on the oily side, like myself, because that tinted moisturizer will make you look a little extra glossy. And we all love a glow, but we don't like to look greasy, y'all, alrighty? Anyways, guys, I want you guys to try this out at home and let me know how it works for you. You can do this with a Revlon, with a Maybelline, whatever you may. Try it out with MAC too. It'll be looking real cute. And this is a great way, once again, to save some money, honey. So let me know your guys' thoughts on this. Write me at Jeray for the Slay on all social media platforms. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Super Tuesday is the single biggest day of voting. Since there isn't a national primary for presidential nominations, this is as close as we get. And we don't have to go too far back to track the tradition. The first Super Tuesday was in 1988, where several southern states scheduled their primaries together to try to nominate someone more moderate. Today's Super Tuesday is more geographically spread out, and it's less about specific regions trying to swing the election. It's become more about a sink or swim test for candidates. And if history is any indicator, the winner of 17 out of 18 Super Tuesdays went on to win their party's nomination. This year, 14 states are heading to the polls, making more than a third of all delegates up for grabs on this day. Super Tuesday is big, but still relatively early in the primary process. There will be primaries and caucuses happening until June.
It's been 3 years since Decorius Jones went into the woods and vanished. 11 Alive investigative reporter Rebecca Lindstrom updates us on the case in DBL's True Crime Chronicles. Join the conversation on the next DBL.
Welcome back to DBL. Before we go, we want to send our thoughts and prayers to all the folks in Nashville and central Tennessee, where a tornado yesterday killed at least 22 people and injured several others. More than 50,000 people were left without power. This is video of the wreckage, and it shows just how powerful the storm was. We wanted to keep everyone affected in our hearts. I have people writing me on Twitter, on Instagram, saying, I'm checking in with you. My family's okay. Anyone from Nashville, please, if you're a viewer, let us know what's going on your end. We want to hear from you. It was horrific, and it came in very sudden, and as you see, it just wreaks havoc.
You know what I used to, because I used to read up on tornadoes because I was really scared of them as a kid, so I used to read about them a lot. And one thing I distinctly remember reading is they don't hit cities as much because I guess cities give off a lot of electrical currents, and it makes it so it's harder for them to form. But it seems like I've been seeing tornadoes hit cities now rather than more rural areas. You used to see them like out in the plains.
It's in like
and now it seems like they're downtown.
Yeah, it's true.
Scary. Thoughts
all right,
and prayers,
we will see
honestly.
you tomorrow, same time, same place. Be good for each other. We're all facing in that uphill battle. Bye, guys.
Everyone, Kelly Schubert here with the DBL digital team. With the coronavirus going around, we want to show you how to wash your hands. Now, this may seem like something you should know how to do. Apparently, some people don't know how to wash their hands correctly, so we're going to show you how. First, roll your sleeves up, of course. Turn the water on. Get your hands wet. I like to get one hand wet, but you want to make sure you get enough soap. So I like to get like 3 pumps of the soap. We have an automatic one here. Make sure the soap can cover all surfaces of your hands. I actually like to go a little higher on my arms even. So you're gonna rub it in. Then we're gonna start rubbing each side of the back of our hands. Really get in there. Next, in between our fingers, which a lot of people don't think about. And this is actually one that I'm gonna admit to you guys, I don't do this part, but you really should go like this. Make sure you're really scrubbing the top of your fingers there. It's kind of weird to think about. I usually just go like this, but the CDC recommends you do it this way. Next, get it to your fingers. Really get in there and make sure you're getting each of them because so many germs, you really don't want to take the chance. Now, it may seem like we've been washing them for a long time. We really haven't. You want to wash them long enough to sing happy birthday twice. So I think we've got a little bit longer to go. We haven't actually been singing happy birthday, but you really want to make sure you wash them to the full max. With the coronavirus going around, the flu going around, you don't want to take the chance. This may seem silly, but it's really not. So wash it all off, get up on the arms there. And then, before I turn the water off, I usually grab my towel and turn it off with the towel because you just don't know who has touched it and who hasn't actually washed their hands and who won't wash their hands properly and then touch it. Guys, this has been Kelly teaching you how to wash your hands. Bye.
We're talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
Separating fact from fake coronavirus news, we're breaking down the real symptoms and discussing why some are choosing social distancing to stay safe. An abrupt exit and apology from political host Chris Matthews on live TV.
I'm retiring. This is the last hardball on MSNBC.
How a string of recent controversies led to his stunning retirement.
Get off of my porch.
A man greets Black Lives Matter protesters at his door with a gun.
I will shoot you. Get off of my porch.
The story behind this shocking video.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to Daily Blast Live. It's Super Tuesday, March 3rd. I'm here with Lindsay, Jeff, Al, and I'm Tori. Sam is on maternity leave. She has not had the baby yet. We will keep you updated. We are thinking of her, and Erica has the day off. Let's get right to it. We're tracking the latest facts on the coronavirus outbreak here in the States. Right now, there are more than 100 Americans who have been tested positive for the virus, and we have an update for you. 9 have now died in Washington state. New York reported their second case this morning. Here's a list of the symptoms for the coronavirus according to the CDC. They include fever, cough, and shortness of breath. At a White House briefing yesterday, officials said nearly 1 million people in the U.S. could be tested for coronavirus this week. And the head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, Dr. Anthony Fauci, said this about what measures could be taken if the outbreak gets worse.
If we get a major outbreak of this coronavirus in this country, that would mean perhaps closing schools temporarily, getting people to do more teleworking, canceling events where there is a lot of crowds in confined places, canceling unnecessary travels so that you're not on an airplane for 5 hours with a bunch of people who might be infected.
More and more officials are talking about possible, and get to know this phrase, social distancing measures, like limiting contact with people, avoiding large crowds, and of course, washing your hands. A good note is if you do it to the tune of Happy Birthday and you sing it twice, that's the right amount of time the CDC recommends, although people will look at you crazy in the bathroom.
Yeah, that's a long time.
That's a really sad moment when you're saying happy birthday to yourself in the bathroom mirror.
It happened. This grandma in front of me, and when I was away this weekend, was washing her hands, and she knew I was like, okay. And she said, just so you know, I'm doing happy birthday twice.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. And then she made me think about washing I used to be like,
right.
You know.
More symbolic than anything.
No, I mean, we do want to keep you informed, but we also want to make sure you know we're not panicking here. Right. We are a channel that takes it seriously, but we have Dr. Drew on who said, hey, the flu is much, much worse in some ways, so we are just keeping you abreast of the facts.
Right.
All right, it is Super Tuesday. I voted, everyone.
Yes.
Woo! All right.
You look like you were at a funeral for voting.
I know.
Oh, my God.
It's election 2020, and it's kicking off in a big way right now as 14 states are voting in the primary as we speak. Last night, Joe Biden picked up some key endorsements from his former Democratic rivals. Let's take a look at his rally last night in Dallas.
Today, I am ending my campaign and endorsing Joe Biden for president.
March 3rd, 2020. I will be casting my ballot for Joe Biden.
You know, when I ran for president, we made it clear that the whole idea was about rallying the country together to defeat Donald Trump and to win the era for the values that we share. And it is in the name of that very same goal that I'm delighted to endorse and support Joe Biden for president.
Yeah. Secret tip, Obama might have called Pete Buttigieg to say maybe you should endorse Biden. That's the word in D.C. Well, a lot of people are saying this is now essentially a two-man race between Biden and Bernie Sanders. Of course, Bloomberg, remember him? We'll also find out soon enough if his big bet to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars will pay off. I can make this short for you. It won't.
Bloomberg's not going anywhere without a fight. He already put $500 million in. He said he's going to take it all the way to July.
He could donate $500 million to hunger and do so much more for this country than what he's doing is splitting the vote.
But say it works, the contested convention.
Stop and frisk is so dangerous and so racially horrendous that when he went to South Carolina, the African-American congregation turned their backs on him.
He was polling at 19%, Tori. Unfortunately, it worked.
Until the debate, and then it just all went downhill from there.
But I feel like I turned around this weekend and everybody just randomly got behind Biden. I know you're saying perhaps Obama called them, but it just seems like everybody
just got Lindsay. I think that if you look at all the Democratic candidates, they all have what Buttigieg, people went at him for the wine cave dinner that he had with all those big time money donors.
Too, yeah.
Everybody on that side gets big money from special interest groups, except for Bernie. And it's so interesting that even somebody like Pete Buttigieg, who got called out on a debate for writing a paper about liking Bernie Sanders in college when he was a grown person. He wasn't 7 writing to Santa. He was a grown person. All of a sudden, he can't wait to endorse Joe Biden. It's because they know if Bernie gets in office, that money's going to slow down, or if not, stop.
I also have a theory that
like their lifestyles.
I also have a theory that Biden would make Buttigieg his VP. He keeps calling him. He reminds him of Bo, his son who passed. He's just a good stand-up guy like Bo.
Biden desperately needs a person of color, I think, and a woman, desperately, because of Anita Hill. I think what happened there.
And Warren's just out of the conversation. I know we said them too.
I mean, I'm just thinking Warren at this point is splitting the vote. Now, I love Elizabeth Warren, but at some point you got to give up and endorse someone that you respect. So let us know how you feel. It's a big day today. One of the biggest names covering politics in America for decades retired live on air. Chris Matthews, host of MSNBC's long-running show Hardball, made the announcement at the top of his show last night after he was accused of making sexist comments to a guest on his show in 2016. Matthews also apologized for his behavior. Take a look.
Let me start with my headline tonight. I'm retiring. Compliments on a woman's appearance that some men, including me, might have once incorrectly thought were okay. We're never okay. Not then and certainly not today. And for making such comments in the past, I'm sorry.
After the show went to break, Steve Kornacki, who I felt pretty bad for, took over the broadcast, and he even seemed a little surprised by the turn of events, saying Matthews was, quote, a lot to take in, and he loved him, and he was a giant.
Can you answer a question for me? Why does he get to call it retiring on air? He quit on air. Like that. I quit Wendy's when I was 15. I didn't retire. I walked, and then they called me and said, bring your uniform back. So yeah, like how
I feel like they had some kind of conversation behind the scenes, and it didn't go in a way that he liked at all. And so retiring, because he had this illustrious career, basically started MSNBC, was one of the first prominent anchors there. They didn't just like not have him on air again. You have to say something.
Wouldn't you do like a 2-week leave and then kind of?
That's what I'm confused about.
MSNBC apparently had a meeting with him. It did not go well. He didn't tell any of his guests he was leaving in the middle of a show or after the first block. He didn't even tell his camera people until about an hour before the show. So something went wrong, and he felt like he was sort of getting thrown under the bus. Now, you think there'd be a bigger send-off, but NBC #Matt Lauer isn't taking any chances with anything with sexual harassment at all. So it's just a zero tolerance.
And it seems like that's what's involved, right? Because he hints at that and he says, I apologize. He didn't seem angry, like something happened, then he went on air and kind of says, that's it, I'm done here. So I don't know. Maybe they're like, listen, you leave and this goes away.
Yeah.
You stay and we're going to pursue. I don't know. I can't tell you what happened, but I know it's very serious, even if it's that long ago.
Yeah. But I thought Chris Matthews' comments were mostly because of the things that he's recently said, which was comparing Bernie to like a Nazi or something like that.
He said Bernie Sanders is like the Nazis taking France. He then apologized for it, but that was a ridiculously strong comment to make.
But for him, so let's say he's getting fired because of his most recent actions, then why did they let Allison Morris, I believe, stay on air, who just said a racial slur allegedly when Kobe Bryant passed? You know, that she's a woman who everybody was watching, and it went around the world and went viral that she might have said a racial slur, and they didn't even put out a public apology from the company.
Wow.
But Chris Matthews has to leave, somebody who's given their life to NBC. So it just is interesting to understand what happened and who goes and what stays.
He also did it confuse two African-American senators for each other, and they're on opposite sides. So he's been making some gaffes recently, unfortunately. Well, the LA District Attorney is apologizing right now. Jackie Lacey said her husband is profoundly sorry for what happened yesterday when a group of 50 Black Lives Matter protesters came to her house around 5:40 in the morning. Video of the moment has gone viral. A warning to our viewers, it's a little graphic. The gentleman you see is Jackie Lacey's husband.
Good morning.
Get off of my porch. I will shoot you. Get off of my porch.
Can you tell Jackie Lacey that we're here?
I don't care who you are. Get off of my porch right now. We're calling the police right now.
Good.
Okay, so we've had a lot of discussions about this one. First, you're on someone's property. But second, they've been trying to reach this district attorney for over a year. Am I right?
I think my first initial reaction was like, oh yeah, get off my porch. But the second thing was that these Black Lives Matter protesters have been trying to reach somebody who's a public official for more than a year, saying, we'd like to meet with you. She's been pushing them off, and we're on the eve of re-election. And they're like, well, why should we vote for you when you're not taking Black lives or several lives that we're looking at seriously? And they just wanted answers from her. I think the most effective way has been a peaceful protest in order to make the world and other people see that this woman, what she's not doing.
Do you think this peaceful protest went too far by being at someone's house? Like a sit-in at like a segregated diner, right? Is sort of like corporate property, but this is someone's own home.
Let me say this though. I feel like we're missing the whole argument here, Jeff. It's that we have completely allowed our elected officials that work for us, our taxes line their pockets so they can live in nice houses. They now completely brush off our concerns as the electorate. We saw that video of, I don't know which senator, like a U.S. veteran wanted to talk to him, and I think it was Lindsey Graham, and he kind of brushed the guy off. It's like, yo, you're not Kanye West coming out of a nightclub, not talking to paparazzi. You have an obligation to meet with people. But if a coalition like the Black Lives Matter want to speak to you over the course of a year, I'm sure their first option wasn't 5 a.m. at your house. I think that's what you do when you've been put off for a year and people refuse to talk to you.
But why not go to her office and stalk her there?
I'm sure they tried that, Tori.
Well, it seems like this to me, you do run into the property of you're criminally trespassing on my property. Do I think a gun needed to come out and say I'm going to shoot you? Absolutely not. But I do understand 50 people showing up at your door at 5 in the morning. It's a little disconcerting.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we got 10 seconds left. I don't want to get into the whole. I'll talk about it at break.
Okay, go to Facebook or YouTube. Jeff has something to say. DBL, we are live, and coming up, Oscar-winning actor Timothy Hutton is being hit with new rape accusations. We'll tell you who's coming forward and why. Plus, actor Rob Riggle channeling his inner Indiana Jones. He's telling me all about his new show that has him trekking the globe in search of adventure. And you, the viewer, are our fifth host. Who gets the wedding ring when it's time to split up? It's a hot topic that's got you buzzing. We're sharing your comments coming up next.
All right, Jeff, you were going to say something after I blabbed the entire segment.
No, I don't mind. But then when they're like 10 and then
Tori,
moderator looks at me and I'm like, what do you want me to say in 10 seconds? But anyways, so taking out, like I talked about this last hour too, and I don't mean to, I'm not downplaying Black Lives Matter or anything like that. I'm just taking race out of the issue and just talking about people showing up at your house at 5 in the morning, okay? That's what I'm talking about. I don't think it's a great example of what to do or how to push anybody into what you want. If a group of people showed up on my lawn and I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old and a wife inside, listen, it's not going to be a good situation. Yeah. You send me an email, you call me, and I'll get back to you. You don't start coming to people's houses. Now, are they setting a precedent of, hey, I don't like what this singer's doing on their album, or I don't like, because people are that crazy that they'll take this as an example and they'll use it for their own agenda, and they're like, hey, we're peaceful, but we just wanted to meet with Miley Cyrus about her album. It's like, I don't want it to get crazy.
Right. I mean, what I first thought about when I saw the story wasn't politics. It was especially like college football. Because
exactly. Sports players, anything.
When a coach loses a game, loses a rival game, people know where they live.
Yeah.
Diehard fans.
In college towns
and they do show up at their door sometimes demanding they be fired, demanding things like that. And it has to be scary, but I would think that would be more of an angry mob. It does seem, even when the gun was pulled, that woman was remarkably composed. Whether we agree with her showing up or not, I
don't think that's the right move to come out with a gun.
Because as somebody that has kids, I feel the same way. Your biological instinct kicks in. But what I would do is just let them know the authorities have been alerted. The gun is a game changer with everything. When the gun comes out, everything changes.
But you're coming to my house at 5 in the morning when I'm sleeping, and now you got a bunch of people with you, and you got your cameras out, and now I'm the bad guy? Yeah. It's like, I don't know, man. I see where that guy's coming from on that aspect.
Welcome back to DBL. It's time for Fifth Host, and there are always two sides when it comes to divorce, but a debate on ring etiquette has you fired up. Marriage is usually symbolized with pricey rings that can also have sentimental value, of course, especially if the ring has been passed on for generations. Many states even have laws about who gets to keep a wedding ring once the marriage ends. So, DBL Nation, we want to hear it from you. Who gets to keep the wedding ring in a divorce?
Okay, Lori from Facebook says, if an engagement ring is broken, the ring goes back. Or if an engagement is broken, the ring goes back. But if you got married, it should be yours to keep unless it's a family heirloom. And I agree with that. If you get engaged and you don't even make it down the aisle, okay, give the man or the woman their ring back if that's what you want to do. But if you got married and have like 10 years in the game and somebody's being petty talking about give me my ring back, I can't subscribe to that. That's just too much. Just go your separate ways and call it a day.
Barb from Facebook says, my husband left me for his secretary and I had to raise our son alone. Pawning that diamond ring gave us the nest egg we needed. Barb, that got deep right there. I'm sorry that happened to you. You deserve the ring in that instance. But in every other instance, when a couple is bickering at each other, you guys are both losers. I'm here to tell you the truth right now. The only winner in this is the divorce lawyer. They're taking all your money. Don't worry about splitting it up between you. You guys are both losers.
What should they do instead? Just stay together?
No, or do it.
Try to do it as amicably as you can.
Nice.
Amicably. Before I spit it out.
Round of applause for the
One at a time. I'm done here.
Headed home.
LaShawn from Facebook says, I got divorced after 20 years of marriage. My 5-carat ring was mine to give to my son for his wife. Well done, LaShawn, and I'm sure your son and his wife, first of all, good luck to them, and I'm sure that what a great family heirloom to be passed down. Divorces are ugly, and LaShawn, it sounds like you did the right thing. It's like, look, whatever happened between you and your husband is a bad memory, but what you can do is separate yourself, and I think when you bicker over the ring, bicker over the dogs, bicker over who gets this, it keeps that person in your life, and I think we forget about mental health. Getting rid of something, a constant negative in your life, getting rid of that, even if it costs you a little bit of money, it's worth every penny.
Interesting. That's a good point. Yolanda from Facebook says, I believe it's rude to return gifts. But if it's a $100,000 gift, it's kind of an important thing. Here's the deal, and this comes from my father, who always says, write it down. If you're worried and it's a really expensive ring, I know it's not very romantic, take a freaking napkin and just write, if we get divorced, it goes to this person. Have someone witness it, sign it. That counts. That counts, and it saves you hundreds of thousands of dollars in divorce attorneys. I know it's a little uncomfortable, but if you have an asset that expensive, you need to talk about it, unfortunately.
If I gave you $100,000 ring and you wrote on a napkin who gets it, we are getting a divorce right there.
I want that written on
Yeah, that minute.
Yes.
Scribe needs to come write it out.
It's like a calligrapher comes.
Yes.
All right, coming up on DBL Slang 101, we're updating your vocabulary so you can keep up with the Gen Zers. See if you know the most popular phrases. But first, actor, comedian, explorer. I get to chat with Rob Riggle about his exciting new show that has him crisscrossing the globe to solve the greatest mysteries around. Don't go away. Welcome back to DBL. Actor Rob Riggle is taking on a new mission to solve the world's greatest mysteries. Earlier, I talked with him about his new Discovery series that combines comedy with history. In today's Chatting with the Stars. Good job, guys.
For centuries, the world's greatest mysteries have baffled the world's greatest minds. But you should never send a great mind to do a hero's job.
What the heck is going on around here?
He is Rob Riggle, global investigator.
Rob Riggle, welcome to Daily Blast Live. So your new show is my dream job. You are the modern day Indiana Jones. It looks like the graphic is even the same, searching for things like the Holy Grail and Atlantis. So I need to know what Rob Riggle's #1 thing to find would be. What would you most want to find?
I think it's got to be the Holy Grail,
yeah,
right?
Okay.
You know, we're talking about eternal life, if I can drink from it, which I did. I did find a cup, and I did drink from it. And now it's just a waiting game. We'll have to see.
That's hilarious.
Fingers crossed.
Did you feel different when you drank from it? Anything?
I did. I felt a little gassy.
Oh. That's awesome. Who knew that's what it would feel like?
So
That's amazing. Now, in this series, you scuba dive, you rock climb, you run into snakes. Some people may not know, but I know. You are a former Marine, and I mean Marine. How did your military training help you pull off this series?
Oh, there was a couple things that helped, probably the rappelling.
Please don't let me die in this canyon.
The scuba diving. Just being out in the elements.
Solving mysteries, kind of what I do.
You know, just a sense of let's get out there and see what happens.
Is there things you didn't want to do and had to talk yourself into?
There was a scorpion dinner that I had to really think about.
Yeah, that turns you gassy too, I heard.
Yes, I heard that too.
Sorry. I do want to know, what do you think was the most amazing, most surprising discovery you made while filming?
There's a lot of things around UFOs that I kind of went in a little more skeptical, and I came out a little more accepting of, you know what, there's a lot up there that we don't understand.
Rob Riggle, Global Investigator, premieres March 8th on the Discovery Channel. Rob, thank you so much for your service and for sharing all of your amazing stories with us at DBL Nation.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. He's so cool. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Goody. Yeah, but I know. We're talking about voting and stuff. It's really hard, man. It's not an easy thing to deal with.
I think the difficult thing is a weird thing to get into during the break, but just like having two choices with anything, it just doesn't make sense. And like, I feel like a lot of people, if you looked at it as two big tents, I think if you check Democrat or Republican, if you physically walked in the tent and saw everybody that was in that tent, you might be like, I am an evangelical that just doesn't want abortion. That's all I care about.
Right.
You would walk in that tent and there would be a guy with an AR-15 and grenades, a grenade bandolier saying, I just care about, and you're like, I don't have anything to do with that.
Right, like it's so separate.
But it's just like, if the one party represents your one issue, I do think you should be more than one issue voter, but if it doesn't do that, I think that a lot of people are forced to make very difficult decisions when other countries do have a parliamentary system where you're like, I'm more of a fiscally conservative libertarian that
a lot of people are very
I think a lot of people would define themselves with a comma.
Yeah.
Rather than just like
I'm one or the other.
Like, what
I
is
know.
that?
Peggy Williams writes in, if somebody shows up at my house on my personal property and I choose not to speak to them and they won't leave, I will call the police while I video them. I 100% agree with you, Peggy. I would not have opened the door.
Yes.
And because I think that puts you in liability and problems. I would have said, I know you, I have a video on you, I'm calling the authorities, and I have a weapon in this house that I'm legally registered and trained to use. That gets you fine. Don't open the dang door. But I totally agree with you, Peggy, on that, because I think
I agree as well.
The House is sort of off limits at some point. The House, there's something in the Fourth Amendment, which is search and seizure, that, and the Third Amendment, don't let soldiers be quartered in your homes, that the British would try to do that during the Revolutionary War, and there's a sense of, this home is my castle, so it's called the castle law, of like, it's overly protective because that's your home.
I felt uncomfortable. I just moved into a home and just some people, two guys came up to the front door to talk to me about my roof, and it's just like, I was just like through the door, I'm like, I don't know, it's like, what if I crack the door and say, I don't know you?
Yeah.
And if I don't have if you know me, you would have a way to let me know you're coming over.
That you're coming over, I totally agree with you.
I don't like that.
You don't know.
Welcome back to DBL. That's one happy hippo. Check out this super cute video that's gone viral of Fiona the hippo playing in the pool at the Cincinnati Zoo last week. Excuse me. She left visitors with a big old smile on their faces.
So cute.
As they watched her diving in and out of the water like she's just a dolphin. That's not what you are. You're a hippo.
Do you know how aggressive those things are?
Yeah, they kill more Africans than any
come on.
Yeah,
No, they do.
No, hippos.
You guys are like, come on.
Hippos are
Seriously?
Yeah, you don't mess around.
Yeah, hippos.
Oh, really? The hippo's gonna come attack you?
Yes, they will. All right.
To Africa.
Hippos are very aggressive.
Lindsay's that girl petting animals out in the wild. You know what I mean? That we do stupid videos on.
She's the moose petter?
Yes.
The moose petter.
She wasn't here yesterday.
Oh, made no.
Tell me about the moose petter. I need to know.
In Breckenridge, which we showed on the show yesterday, a moose was wandering, and she went over to pet it, and everyone's like, "You're an idiot!" And then the moose bucked.
I also, we didn't say that.
Wow.
This is just my opinion. I think there have been some day drinking going on with a moose petter girl.
Moose petting.
I think that was brought to you by mimosas.
I have not been.
I watch animals from afar. I'm not the type to be like, oh.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But I'm saying a hippo doesn't. It doesn't seem like it scares me. I'm not like, oh, hippo.
It kills a lot of Africans, more than any other animal. All right, it was a good place
Thanks
to
for
end
ending with a fun fact.
Well, I'm African, so.
Here's what's next on DBL. Look at that. Look at her. Look at her. No.
Oscar-winning actor Timothy Hutton facing new rape accusations. We'll tell you who's pointing the finger and why she's finally coming forward decades later. Plus, Post Malone's face tattoos, it's not just for looks, the real and raw reason behind the ink. And Slang 101, we're helping you stay current on Gen Z lingo later on DBL.
We're tracking new information today on the vaping crisis across the country. The first study on long-term health effects was just published, and researchers say the devices are linked to an increased risk of chronic lung diseases. The study by the American Journal of Preventive Medicine included more than 30,000 adults. Now, none of those adults had any signs of lung disease when the study started back in 2013. NBC News reports by 2016, the people who used e-cigarettes were 30% times more likely to develop a chronic lung disease. DBL Nation, I know I've asked this so many times before, but if you vape, does this latest study concern you and make you want to stop? Please let me know using the hashtag DBLTake. And a new poll out from Fox News today shows how many people think President Trump should be impeached. 50% of the respondents say Trump should be impeached and removed from office, while 4% say he should be impeached and not removed, and 41% oppose impeachment. DBL Nation, how do you feel? This has been Fast Blast for you. I'll keep you updated on these stories and all the breaking news throughout the day right here on your digital breaks. Bye now.
A momentous moment in motor history, ushering in the end of driving as we know it, and you probably didn't even know it happened. Let's connect the dots. Sometime in October of this year, someone looking for a ride in Phoenix, Arizona, opened an app, requested a ride, and then hopped in a minivan to get to their destination. So why was this such a big deal? Well, no one was behind the wheel. Waymo, which is owned by Google's parent company, is testing its ride-hailing service with plans to expand in 2020. Experts say this could be the tipping point for driverless cars. While plenty of companies are working on autonomous autos, widespread acceptance by the average consumer probably years away. But this experiment could get the general public a lot more comfortable with letting a computer take the wheel. Kind of like a test drive for a somewhat scary new future. And that is Connecting the Dots.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. Before we get started, Lindsay, am I on the wrong camera? There we go. Lindsay, you just got back from Paris Fashion Week.
I did. It was so much fun.
Wow. Now
I'm laughing because Jeff just caught me sending a last-minute text before the show started.
You give me the giggles sometimes.
Oh, that's so cute. We're going to go see more from your trip a little bit later.
Mock us?
No,
yeah, so cute. Nobody cares.
Wow.
I was trying to move the show.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, boss.
I am the boss, but first we have some serious allegations. Actor Timothy Hutton, this is serious. We want to take this seriously, is accused of rape dating back more than 30 years. Canadian model Sarah Johnston says Hutton raped her in a Vancouver hotel room back in 1983 when she was just 14 years old. She says they did reach a $135,000 settlement, but backed out of the deal because Hutton wouldn't admit to the guilt. Hutton denies the allegation, saying it's all an extortion scheme. He's also considering taking legal action against her, but Fox also canceled his TV show Almost Family shortly after news of this rape allegation broke. So how much merit do you give rape allegations? And I say that carefully because this can trigger people, because people sometimes A, don't remember being raped, and B, can't come forward because of psychological barriers, really. But does it bother you, or does it mean less if it's like 35 years old? In reality,
listen, in reality, you have to take that into consideration, right?
Right.
I understand me saying that nobody wants to hear a lot of things.
Well, it muddies the waters with anything.
Yes, because it's so old, you can't remember. I went fishing. Listen, I hate talking about this because you can't win, but stories change, whether they're 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago when I was in high school. Those stories I have with my friends change as they evolve.
But would you say a rape could change?
I've never been raped, so I can't tell you. I can't tell you. I just hope Fox, that's what I wanted to say, does their due diligence, because canceling someone's show on an allegation, you better be pretty sure before you start ruining other people's lives to make sure this is true.
True.
I would think that they did, I would hope, an extensive investigation, right? And this woman, according to her story, she said that she did reach a settlement with him a while ago, and it was for about $135,000. And she just said she didn't want to take it because she didn't want to sign an NDA. And so that's kind of like a choice she made. So it coming up right now and the show getting canceled is kind of just like the water's muddy in that whole situation, because why didn't they get to go all the way to court and continue prosecuting then, Or was the statute of limitations way gone and she couldn't do anything? And then
it's a really weird thing.
Any kind of traumatic event. I mean, they always say, like, if somebody gets robbed at gunpoint, they can't describe the assailant at all. All they can see is the gun. And I mean, I would assume that that same kind of trauma happens when something sexual like this happens. Violent like this happens to you as well, where you are just in another place.
But some people say, and this is knowing sexual assault victims, it gets very vivid, and they remember everything: the smell, the taste, the look, the scars. So it does react differently, trauma for different people, I think. So let us know what you think on Facebook or YouTube, but we're moving on to some hard news. Last night, The Bachelor broke away from its usual format and came clean about the online bullying many of the women on the show experienced. During the Women Tell All segment, Rachel Lindsay read comments she received during her own season. If you remember, she was the first and only Black Bachelorette in the franchise history. Take a look.
No one cares about a half Mexican opinion. I'm like shaking as I'm reading this because it's shocking, it's uncomfortable. I know it's uncomfortable for you to see. Just imagine how uncomfortable it is to get this in your comments and your DMs every day, every week, every month.
Other women also spoke out about receiving hateful comments about their hair and ethnicity. Let's take a look.
A lot of the comments that I got right away off the show was about my hair and my choice of being natural, and it sucks and it hurts. I had so much love come in, and it meant so much to get messages from people saying that it's important to have representation and thank you.
Jeff, you were in reality. This is a reality show. Do you still get comments about Big Brother? Do you?
And this is the reality of it. People sign up to be on the show because they want to be famous, or for whatever reason they want to go on the show, or it may be to find love. But you're going to get the negative side of that business. And a lot of people look at the Kardashians, whoever your favorite celebrities, they look at them and be like, man, I wish I was them. It's not all glamour and gold, okay? There's a lot of negativity that comes, especially now with the social media, but you have to stay positive. It's a long road to go down. I've fell off the road many times just looking at negative comments. I don't go on my Twitter at all anymore. I don't use it. I don't use Facebook. The only thing I do use is Instagram, and I use that for the positive people in my life. Of course, I still get negative comments on there, but I don't want to shut the world off. I don't want to shut off what I'm doing. I want to share with the people who helped me through this journey. I want to show them how my kids are going, how my wife is, just all these beautiful things. And it's always just a handful of people that ruin that moment, like social media, or say something negative to this brave, proud woman to put her life out there on TV, and then you make fun of her physical appearance or ethnicity. People are nasty, and social media is a nasty, nasty place, and we need to get it under control. License it somehow, put your name on your thing, because I guarantee if you can't make up a fake account, it's not going to be so nasty.
I think that would take care of 95% of it.
Yes.
Because even if like, you know, Twitter or Instagram or Facebook didn't discipline you, I think your job might. Because if I follow Bob Smith and we work at CVS together and he leaves a comment like this when he's Bachelorette, I'm more prone to go to our manager, our boss, and say, hey, just let you know that this guy represents our brand and he said this and this. And I think it would self-correct itself. I don't think we would need the social media sites to do that for us, but people don't have to put their name on it, so you can put an egg and make it Mike Smith 8957 and just say whatever you want. Threaten people's lives if you want. How can you follow that up?
On the other side, anonymity is an important part of freedom of speech, right? People write protest letters anonymously because they're protected by that. I'm not saying this is right, but I'm certainly saying I think you'd have a problem with freedom of speech if you had
I don't think that most people on Twitter are writing protest letters. I'm sorry.
Even like the conversation of like negative comments, someone could say your opinion is dumb, I don't like what you have on today, but I think once you start to get, in Rachel Lindsay's case, she was the first black woman on the show, and people start calling her the N-word or using racial slurs and describing things that have been oppressive for so many years. I think that's when you add an extra layer to the online bullying.
Absolutely.
And that's when, because it kind of
and hatred.
Right. Even if things, we have small things for me that have on the show have gone viral, and the one person out of the 90% of most people who said something, the one person that did say something that was the N-word or anything like that, it affected me so deeply I can't even describe.
It's all you think about.
Right, because it's like, wow, I worked so hard to be here, and you're bringing me back here.
Totally.
And I know you're supposed to think better than that and go past that, but it's still hard. You know, it's like
I know it
that's
is.
all you see when you see me.
I feel like I was a good player when I play. You know what I mean? I got positive comments. So I can imagine how this is affecting women like you, like these women on The Bachelor. But I'm telling you, if somehow we could license this and put your name on it, they're not going to be like, you know, that was Greg from UPS who said that, and his job's on the line, and you had to do that just to get a comment out on social media. It will correct itself.
Right.
I think so.
Let us know what you guys think about this. We're moving on to singer Post Malone, who is known for his face tattoos, but there's a sad and relatable reason behind all that ink. In a new GQ cover story, he reveals he has the tattoos because he's insecure about his appearance, saying, quote, I'm an ugly bleep, bleep, bleep. That's so sad. So I'm going to put something cool on there so I can look at myself and say, you look cool, kid, and just have a bit of self-confidence. Psychologically, this is what they call like the masking, right? And to be honest, this is a literal mask, right? You know, you put on a mask and you fake it. Like at school, I'd always put on a mask after being bullied. I'm fine. But this person's literally masking themselves so they don't have to see themselves. And I think his name is Presley Garber, Cindy Crawford's son, famously just did this and put misunderstood on the moneymaker that he's a model. And he literally marred his face saying he's feeling misunderstood. So this has become a new trend. I see a lot of people doing this. How do we feel about this?
You know, psychologically, again, I'm not a doctor, but it makes sense.
Yeah,
especially coming from Post Malone. He doesn't like the way he looks, so he covers it up with something more enjoyable. Even though he's super talented, has this great voice, he still has his own demons. That's what I mean about like saying, you look at people on TV and you think you have this perfect life in this big house. It's not. This guy's going through something that he has to put something on his face because he doesn't like his physical appearance. That's pretty deep.
It is.
You know? So
I love that he shared that with his fans, though. Think about how many people look up to him, because I don't think if this is 1990, he writes that in an article. He's just, there's a picture of him floating in his pool, counting money, saying everything is great. I think now, when we do see that Billie Eilish is coming out saying, I have body dysmorphia issues, I believe she said, and I am going through these things, and I have sought mental help. NBA bass, big, strong, 6'10". I go see a shrink every Thursday. That resonates with people. I'm working on my relationship. I cheated and I'm trying to do better. That means something. So I think the fact that people are being more transparent, people are on that pedestal, the highest pedestal, I think it's really going to be beneficial for their fans.
And I know he's grown. I just hope that he really wants these tattoos on his face. You know, they're permanent or take a lot to get off. And so I understand he's going through something. It's just like the tattoos that are more hidden. Then you can have a choice to say if you love them still in 20 years.
Yeah, maybe henna. Think of henna.
Yeah, henna works too.
He's too far.
Yeah, he's
you know, like when you're like, I can't go back to the apartment.
Yeah,
he's too far.
He's both feet in.
All right, our Lindsay Granger, my word, she just returned from Paris Fashion Week.
Yeah.
The Semaine de Fashion. Now, you actually went to some of these fashion shows. I have to ask you, you brought some video back, and I hear you saw some major players like Miss Anna Wintour.
I know, she's like the icon of Fashion Week, right? So while everybody else was just being chill and kind of relaxing, I was zooming into the back of her head because I was like, oh my God, Anna Wintour.
That's crazy cool.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I was like, oh my God.
That could be anybody.
No, her bob is iconic. It's famous, Jeff. Don't do this. Don't pop my bubble. Okay?
Jeff right now. I think
you don't care about this bob.
I think that person just dropped off the hangers. No.
She sits front row with that bob, and you know it's her.
It's interesting because my friend works in fashion, one of my best friends, and so she's in this world the kind of same way we're in TV. And so in order to get into the shows, you email the PR. They say no to like 99% of the people, but if they approve you, they send a courier to your hotel, and they drop off these elaborate invites that are like made out of materials and like it's just very extreme. It's under your name at your front desk, and then you go to the show. You find out like 24 hours in advance. So it's very extreme. A lot of celebrities were there.
What shows did you see?
I saw Tom Brown.
Nice. Stella McCartney?
Yeah, Stella McCartney, who's my favorite brand. This is Stella McCartney. I really love her. Stella McCartney has some crazy people on the runway.
Yeah, she had mascots walking down.
Right, like running down the road. I like when people do crazy stuff. I know Jeff was saying he doesn't understand when you look at these crazy shows what you're supposed to gain from it. And I think you're supposed to just like take a piece of it and wear it with like a more normal outfit. Like obviously you wouldn't wear that head mask, I don't think.
If you did, I'd laugh really hard.
Or that huge bag. But I think that, you're supposed to wear some combo of these things.
What celebrities did you see?
Janelle Monáe, Yara Shahidi,
wow,
and Anna Wintour.
Wow,
those are my three. I saw Beyonce's stylist too.
Really?
Zarina Akers, yeah. And I think she's a celebrity because I just love looking at what Beyonce has on and everything, and I'm like knowing that she styles her. She's just chilling, walking around.
Well, I was in Indianapolis this weekend.
Good job, Al!
Who'd you see in Indianapolis, Al?
I didn't see anybody. I drove myself to the venue and drove back to the hotel. That's my story.
Life like
That's
Lindsay.
right.
No, I'm chilling now.
These weekends are like.
What did you do this weekend? I just chill.
Coming up on DBL, we're keeping your lingo current and teaching you the most common Gen Z slang. We'll finally be able to keep up with the kids. Coming up next.
Right?
So were you in Paris the whole time?
I'm going to point it out. Yeah, that's it. So I just flew straight there and straight back.
For the fashion show?
Well, my friend was already there for Fashion Week for work, so I just met her. She's been there for the whole week.
Wow.
Yeah,
but I bet it was like the whole town was kind of.
Yeah, everyone, like you walk around the street and you see like characters. Like to me, like the fashion that you would, like people wearing over the top stuff. And it's like no matter where you walk in Paris, it's full of people that are like, even maybe not attending the shows, just like want to get photographed. There's tons of every magazine out there and
Did you get a
takes
picture?
the best street style. I didn't, but the ones I went to Australia Fashion Week a couple of years ago and I got in Vogue with two of my friends and I looked crazy.
Really?
But I'll show you the picture. It was the worst picture of my life, but my friend looked good.
Yeah, but it's the worst picture in Vogue.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just like,
That's
and
better
they're
than everyone
working
else's
casually
picture.
because they're always used to getting photographed during those weeks.
How are your outfits this week?
I loved all of them except for one. I didn't really truly love. Did you enjoy them? I don't know. You didn't like or comment on my picture, so.
I didn't. It doesn't come up with your algorithm. It doesn't pop up for me.
How about the food?
Rolling.
How was the food over
They
there?
hate it.
How was the food?
It was good. We went to a place called Wali Faye, which is an African restaurant, and that was really good. Like I think Western African food.
Yeah.
And so that was like a lot of like really rich dishes and rices. We went to a place called Comis, which is an authentic French restaurant. Yeah, and it just was like a really good. They focused on service and brought out all these foods. It was yummy.
When I was in France one time, I ate French onion soup, and I didn't eat French onion soup for so long because every time it came up, I'd be like, the last time I had that was in France. So I wouldn't eat it for so long so I could tell the story.
Wow.
I was at a low point in my life.
That was my big French brag.
Wait, isn't it true that French fries are not even French?
I just go and be like, what's your
I think they
favorite
were done.
soup?
French fries are not a French food, but they're good over there.
I like them in Spanish. Papas fritas.
They're good over there.
Did you eat any escargot?
No, I didn't.
Welcome back to DBL. What do Baby Yoda and Megxit have in common? As of this month, both phrases can now be found on dictionary.com. If this news catches you by surprise, you're not alone. Just when you finally understood what spilling the tea and yas queen mean, Generation Z comes along with newer slang to make us feel even older. So we're taking a crash course in Gen Z slang. That way you can finally understand what your nieces and nephews and your grandkids are all saying. And just so you know, Generation Z is anyone born from 95 to 2010. Is there any Gen Zer here? In the studio? Okay.
I don't. Yeah.
Mike, Jane. Okay, we have one. Ira, you're not in Gen Z. I'm sorry.
He's like, don't put me in that.
All right.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I know what this means.
Guap.
Money.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it meant cute, like guapo.
No.
Oh.
Money.
Money.
Is there a rap song like that?
There's a lot.
I got the guap. Yeah, it's pretty old. That's not new.
Look at that.
Hey, listen, I'm trying it.
It's in several.
Can you say
I'm gonna
the
show you some.
sentence?
You got mad guap over there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So let's see. Guap simply means
guacamole.
I thought it was guac too. A lot of money. For example, I worked overtime this week to get this guap.
Exactly.
Oh, I thought it meant like guac is extra, you know?
But that's a.
It's gonna be, yeah.
All right. Next up is Taylor told me how to write this. Our producer, Visco Girl.
I have no idea.
Okay.
Like a disco girl?
Hint. It describes a certain kind of girl found in every generation.
I'm gonna just go indie, like an indie
okay.
person.
I would say the dancer disco.
The dancer of disco in
Like a disco.
You mean that common?
The common disco friend that we all have.
You took a time machine back from Paris.
All right, Jeff, any guesses for Visco Girl?
Visco girl, she's the dirty girl.
Dirty girl. All right, let's see. Basically, Visco Girl is the term for preppy.
Oh.
The opposite.
Oh, it's
Same
based
thing
on
as
a
disco.
popular
Disco
smartphone
preppy.
app these girls like to use to edit their photos. You can spot them in the wild wearing oversized t-shirts and scrunchies.
Interesting.
Okay.
Scrunchies are back too?
Oh, big time.
What do they say? Every 25 years stuff
Every
comes
20
back?
years. You know what vintage means?
What?
20 years. Vintage, like 20.
Oh.
That means 20 in French.
Wow.
Oh.
19, 20, 21.
It sounded like you said something else.
Yeah, it did.
You're childish.
I was like, that's my generation.
French. 19. All right. When something happens when they beat your face with, again.
Makeup.
Yes, we learned this
What?
from Dre.
Dre beats our face every day.
He beats our face. Beating one's face means applying makeup, especially when done by a makeup artist. For example, before I get my photo taken, I need to beat my face.
Honestly, I don't even know how this is a thing in
I kind of thought
2020.
this, how could we say this?
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's more like you
People are
beat
so
with the...
woke. That was so last year. How do you say that?
You just gotta, it's like the makeup brush.
No, Al, you're not listening to what
He's saying beat your face is a
Sounds like
violent
whooping
term.
somebody.
Oh.
Like wife beater, you wouldn't probably say.
I'm like,
You don't say wife beater?
That's a cool shirt. I want to kick you.
That, yeah, people wear wife beaters all the time.
You know what I mean?
All
Yeah,
right.
I think it's called an A-frame T-shirt now.
An A-frame T-shirt. Okay, good to know.
I know
Next
this
up,
one.
what does bet mean? And get your head out of the casino. It has nothing to do with gambling.
It means like, all right, okay,
Yeah, okay.
like, cool.
Like,
Yes.
give me a sentence that you mean.
You coming later? You say, yeah, I say bet.
Yeah.
Like, yeah? Oh, okay.
Yeah, like, you say
like,
yeah.
like good. I'll see you there.
Yeah,
Like,
bet.
Did you-
Like, it's a date.
Remember when people were like one when they laughed?
Yeah, because
yeah.
Diddy had a whole song called One.
Yeah.
All right, finally, the answer is bet is Gen Z slang for sure. Meaning you agree with someone. For example, you're right, she's totally has a crush on me. Bet.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
My dad says that, so I don't know how this is. Maybe it made
Every
it 25 years
years.
around. Yeah,
The
because my
vintage-
dad's on the phone like, all right, bet.
Wow, your dad says that?
That's cool.
But he's been saying that since I was little.
He says bet?
Yeah, like if I call, well, he won't say it to me. He says it to his friends.
He says bet. Wow.
I remember when people used to hang up the phone and say one love.
One
Like, all
love.
right, one love. Yeah, that's
Would you
old
guys,
school.
if I were just in the hallway and you were like, hey, am I going to see you later? And I'm like, yeah, bet. Would you think I was cool or lame?
Well, not if
What
you
do you think?
stuttered before.
You said it with
So you're saying
confidence.
there's a chance. All right, we'll be right back. Bet.
There you go.
Welcome back to DBL. Sleeping in on the weekend sounds fun, but it can actually hurt your health. We're talking about in today's Rise and Thrive, sponsored by So Clean. According to a new Harvard study, if you sleep in 90 minutes later than usual, your risk of heart disease or heart attack can go up. The more your sleep patterns change, the higher risk you have. But you can change your poor sleep habits. Experts say exercise. Just 10 minutes per day of walking can improve your sleep. Next, keep it cool. Keep your room between 60 and 67 degrees. Also, avoid nicotine or coffee after mid-afternoon. That can ruin your sleep. And finally, make it dark. Eliminate all bright lights, even the blue light from your smartphone or laptop.
I'm done with all those. I can't have any light. Jeff, you sleep with the TV on, I've heard. I don't know how you do that. You don't hear just like a little bit of noise?
It kind of puts me to sleep.
Yeah.
Like I watch something that's like I've already seen 100 times, like Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I already know what's coming, so I don't have to watch, and it just puts me to sleep, you know?
Do you wake up and cut it off and go back to bed?
Yes.
Okay, I can see that.
Do y'all wake up on the weekends the same time as you wake up in the week? Because they're saying that's the best way to go.
I kind of do.
You do? Do you?
Kind of. I'll try to go a little, as long as I can, but not that much.
No, I can sleep straight till 3, noon really, and then lounge around till 3 in the bed, have a coffee.
You're really like a 15-year-old on summer break. I don't know how you do that.
I think I'm like partially narcoleptic or something, because I can fall asleep anywhere. Like in your car, fall asleep, at the dinner table, fall asleep.
Really?
Wow.
I can wake up at 8 a.m., fall right back asleep.
Now that you know it could be a little unhealthy, do you think you'll get up a little earlier or no?
If I have something specific to do, I'll get up. Okay. Other than that, I'll still be sleeping.
Good to know. We'll be right back.
And for more ways to rest easy, go to SoClean.com or call 1-800-562-3891.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Hello. Beauty Blasters, what's up? It's Jeray for the Slay. I've missed you guys so much. I know, y'all miss my face too. I know, the feeling's so mutual, guys. However, I'm back and it's time for some red light tips with your boy Jeray for the Slay. Now, today, it's summer and it's hot out, y'all. It's time to put down that full coverage foundation and pick up a tinted moisturizer. But you don't always have to go out and buy a brand new tinted moisturizer. Sometimes you can make one at home for yourself. So I went ahead and make a little tutorial here, or actually, I'll just show you guys, alrighty? So you're gonna take your full coverage foundation. This one's from Makeup Forever HD. You don't wanna use like a stick or anything like that. You simply wanna use something that's a liquid base and not something that's going to be extremely mattifying. So if you're working with like a oil control foundation, you might want to go ahead and use something that's going to just be full coverage for normal to dry skin. However, what you can do next, if you have that liquid foundation, is take a little bit of moisturizer. I'm just using Embryolisse. This guy's famous in the makeup artist community, so you guys might want to check it out too. And blend those foundations together. Now you're going to get a much, much more lightweight consistency that's going to be beautiful for that summer glow without having to have that cakey finish in your skin. All you have to do afterwards is tap a little bit with your fingertips and blend all over that beautiful skin of yours. Now, you might want to do a little bit of powder if you're a little bit more on the oily side, like myself, because that tinted moisturizer will make you look a little extra glossy. And we all love a glow, but we don't like to look greasy, y'all, alrighty? Anyways, guys, I want you guys to try this out at home and let me know how it works for you. You can do this with a Revlon, with a Maybelline, whatever you may. Try it out with MAC too. It'll be looking real cute. And this is a great way, once again, to save some money, honey. So let me know your guys' thoughts on this. Write me at Jeray for the Slay on all social media platforms. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Super Tuesday is the single biggest day of voting. Since there isn't a national primary for presidential nominations, this is as close as we get. And we don't have to go too far back to track the tradition. The first Super Tuesday was in 1988, where several southern states scheduled their primaries together to try to nominate someone more moderate. Today's Super Tuesday is more geographically spread out, and it's less about specific regions trying to swing the election. It's become more about a sink or swim test for candidates. And if history is any indicator, the winner of 17 out of 18 Super Tuesdays went on to win their party's nomination. This year, 14 states are heading to the polls, making more than a third of all delegates up for grabs on this day. Super Tuesday is big, but still relatively early in the primary process. There will be primaries and caucuses happening until June.
It's been 3 years since Decorius Jones went into the woods and vanished. 11 Alive investigative reporter Rebecca Lindstrom updates us on the case in DBL's True Crime Chronicles. Join the conversation on the next DBL.
Welcome back to DBL. Now, before we go, we do want to send our thoughts and prayers to all the folks in Nashville and Central Tennessee, where a tornado killed at least 22 people and injured several others yesterday. More than 50,000 people were left without power. Video of the wreckage shows really just how powerful this storm was. So we wanted to keep everyone affected in our hearts. A lot of you wrote me saying, my family's okay, I'm near Tennessee. So DBL viewers, please write us in if you can, letting us know how things are going on the ground there. Our hearts are with you. This is absolutely devastating.
Don't like tornadoes usually come more like towards the springtime? I don't know what the climate
It just
is.
seems like
it's getting worse and more frequent.
Don't even go down the climate road. But Jeff, something is different because
I didn't even
it
mean
used
to.
Yes, I know, but I'm just saying it used to be that cities gave off enough heat that it was because they need
Detroit,
warm and cold air. But now something has shifted where that doesn't, and now we are starting to see major cities get hit with it because it used to be like out in rural areas, and now it's like it's Nashville.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let us know if you're watching and you're a Tennessean. We are thinking of you. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye, guys.
Everyone, Kelly Schubert here with the DBL digital team. With the coronavirus going around, we want to show you how to wash your hands. Now, this may seem like something you should know how to do. Apparently, some people don't know how to wash their hands correctly, so we're going to show you how. First, roll your sleeves up, of course. Turn the water on. Get your hands wet. I like to get one hand wet, but you want to make sure you get enough soap. So I like to get like 3 pumps of the soap. We have an automatic one here. Make sure the soap can cover all surfaces of your hands. I actually like to go a little higher on my arms even. So you're gonna rub it in. Then we're gonna start rubbing each side of the back of our hands. Really get in there. Next, in between our fingers, which a lot of people don't think about. And this is actually one that I'm gonna admit to you guys, I don't do this part, but you really should go like this. Make sure you're really scrubbing the top of your fingers there. It's kind of weird to think about. I usually just go like this, but the CDC recommends you do it this way. Next, get it to your fingers. Really get in there and make sure you're getting each of them because so many germs, you really don't want to take the chance. Now, it may seem like we've been washing them for a long time. We really haven't. You want to wash them long enough to sing happy birthday twice. So I think we've got a little bit longer to go. We haven't actually been singing happy birthday, but you really want to make sure you wash them to the full max. With the coronavirus going around, the flu going around, you don't want to take the chance. This may seem silly, but it's really not. So wash it all off. Get up on the arms there. And then, before I turn the water off, I usually grab my towel and turn it off with the towel because you just don't know who has touched it and who hasn't actually washed their hands and who won't wash their hands properly and then touch it. Guys, this has been Kelly teaching you how to wash your hands. Bye.
What we're talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
Separating fact from fake coronavirus news, we're breaking down the real symptoms and discussing why some are choosing social distancing to stay safe. An abrupt exit and apology from political host Chris Matthews on live TV.
I'm retiring. This is the last hardball on MSNBC.
How a string of recent controversies led to his stunning retirement.
Get off of my porch.
A man greets Black Lives Matter protesters at his door with a gun.
I will shoot you. Get off of my porch.
The story behind this shocking video.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to DBL. It's Tuesday, March 3rd. I'm here with Tori, Brandon, Lindsay. I'm Jeff. Let me get this straight. Sam is on maternity leave, okay? Erica has the day off. So welcome, guys.
Thank you.
So we bring in the B team.
No way. All the B team, Brandon's team.
No, you're the B&B team.
All right, you got me. All right, guys, buckle up, because we're tracking the latest facts on the coronavirus outbreak here in the States. Right now, there are more than 110 Americans who have tested positive for the virus. 9 have died in the state of Washington, and New York did report their second case this morning. Here's a list of symptoms for the coronavirus according to the CDC. They include a fever, cough, and shortness of breath, a lot like the flu. And at a White House briefing yesterday, officials said nearly 1 million Americans could be tested for the coronavirus this week alone. And the head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease had this to say about what measures could be taken if the outbreak gets worse.
If we get a major outbreak of this coronavirus in this country, that would mean perhaps closing schools temporarily, getting people to do more teleworking, canceling events where there is a lot of crowds in confined places, canceling unnecessary travel so that you're not on an airplane for 5 hours with a bunch of people who might be infected.
And more officials are talking about social distancing measures like limiting contact with people, avoiding large crowds, and of course, washing your hands. A lot of these are just very flu-like symptoms, what you do if there was a flu epidemic, which we do, I shouldn't say epidemic, but we do have.
Yes, exactly. Go ahead.
I was going to wait for you.
Oh, well, I was just
What a gentleman.
I know. What is happening right now?
No, that means I have nothing to say. No, I do want to say.
Well, we do talk about it a lot. And there's a lot of reports out there.
Yeah, and I do want to say, if you do have elderly parents, grandparents, those are the people that are really immunocompromised. Okay. And your nursing health homes are really rapidly sort of becoming more of an epicenter. So make sure you take a look and check in on what measures they're taking as well.
And you were reading, I'm sorry.
May I too? Or
go ahead. You're part of the
I think. No, I'm saying I just traveled, so I used to be the one to think it's super weird to bring all that disinfectant and everything on the plane, but it's not. It really comes in travel-sized cases. Just wipe down your space. And the mask might not just be for you. It could be for the elderly person around you that you don't want to get sick because they are immune compromised. So, it just makes sense to just be more safe.
You were just in France, in Paris. Is it are people worried over there about the coronavirus, or would you say when you came back, you just got back yesterday, they're more worried here because there's some panic going on here?
But in France, they've got some real cases. I mean, they closed the Louvre for a reason. In Italy, I mean, there's some issues in Paris.
And I think they just didn't want the congestion. I think just like here, we have a big outbreak in Seattle. So I think that everyone is just in the same accord. A lot of the people that were in France also were in Milan for Fashion Week right before that. So a lot of those people were really scared and anxious. But I think in France, people were just like, well, even the woman who I met who was nice enough, I met while I was down there, she said, oh, I'm not going to hug you or kiss you bye, but have a safe trip back, just because she wanted to be extra safe. So I think, like I said, just maybe not shaking as many hands. People will understand. Wash your hands, stay safe and stay clean, and just do your best while you're traveling.
Check out our social media pages. We had Dr. Drew on, and he kind of breaks it all down, and I think it's going to help you really calm down with all the news going around. All right, guys, this one's for Tori. It's Super Tuesday. What? Tori. Thank you. Election 2020 is kicking off right now as 14 states are voting in the primaries as we speak. And last night, Joe Biden picked up some key endorsements from his former Democratic rivals. Take a look at his rally last night in Dallas.
Today, I am ending my campaign and endorsing Joe Biden for president.
March 3rd, 2020. I will be casting my ballot for Joe Biden.
When I ran for president, we made it clear that the whole idea was about rallying the country together to defeat Donald Trump and to win the era for the values that we share. And it is in the name of that very same goal that I'm delighted to endorse and support Joe Biden for president.
And a lot of people are saying this is a two-man race between Biden and Bernie Sanders. But of course, Bloomberg will also find out soon if his big bet of $100 million.
No, that's $500 million.
$500 million. That's how much you spent on this?
$500 million. $500 million.
And here's where I think why I think he thought he could buy the black vote, because listen, we understand the ramifications of stop and frisk, and we understand how people, openly turn their backs on them in a church. But when you have money like that, you think you can buy black community leaders. Just think, someone had to bring you into these churches or bring you into these communities. So it's like, our Boys and Girls Club, we need more books, we need more computers. Bloomberg can be like, well, here goes a couple mil if you bring me in and allow me to talk talk to your constituents and the people of your community. I don't think he knew that it wasn't going to work in the terms of.
So you don't think it's going to pay off?
No, absolutely not.
It's just a really tight race between Biden and Bernie. So if no one gets the majority of the delegates, they're still up for grabs, right? For people to have these negotiations and deals when it comes down to July when they have that convention. And so Bloomberg's still, I think, going to keep his name in the ring and try to be in the conversation in those deals that are made between the delegates. I don't know how to explain it better, but they can change their minds last minute and decide who's going to be the candidate. So, I mean, we still have Warren in there, too. So it's like it's 4 people still right now.
It's really 2 people, and Bloomberg made a $500 million mistake. I think, to be honest, he's not going to make it. He's not going to go anywhere.
Those billboards weren't funny last week?
They were funny, but they didn't. You saw in the debate he fell flat. And you saw that stop and frisk didn't go away, even though he got a lot of black mayors endorsing him. You're right. He couldn't pay that away at all. I will say this. Obama, the godfather of the Democratic Party, allegedly made some calls to Buttigieg and said, we need your leverage for Biden. Obama saying that means all the DNC and all the power is behind Biden. Bernie's people are the underdogs, and they always have been, and they fight very hard, and they show up at the polls. So it's going to be a dragged-out race.
I think throwing it all behind Biden is a mistake. I don't know that he's going to stand up there next to Trump and really just be this strong, powerful person that overpowers somebody who is just so
I think a lot of people
not caring, basically.
But I agree with you, but a lot of people, I think, want just experience and stability back in the White House, and that's what he represents.
So you think Biden has a better chance than Bernie if it came down to those 2?
I have problems with both, to be super honest. But I think in the end, Biden is your career politician, so that's what we're normally going to see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think a little differently.
I'm with her on
but what do I know? I'm not wearing I voted.
Tori's the only one on this panel who voted so far.
There you go. Show it off, sister. All right. One of the biggest names covering politics in America for decades, retired live on air. Chris Matthews, host of MSNBC's long-running show Hardball, made the announcement at the top of his show last night after he was accused of making sexist comments to a guest on his show back in 2016. Let's watch.
Let me start with my headline tonight. I'm retiring. Compliments on a woman's appearance that some men, including me, might have once incorrectly thought were okay. Were never okay. Not then and certainly not today. And for making such comments in the past, I'm sorry.
And after the show went to break, Steve Kornacki took over the broadcast, and he seemed a little surprised by the turn of events himself. I guess they just threw him out there on air. He didn't know he had to go on air.
They said Deer in the Headlights was like trending on Twitter because poor Steve Kornacki was like, and we have a full hour to finish. I mean, apparently he got word that he didn't tell his camera people before the hour that he was about to do it. He never told his guests. He got up and left after he gave this announcement and went to his family in the green room who were all crying. So it's a weird send-off for someone who's a giant and a lion of MSNBC. He was a speechwriter for Jimmy Carter. Then he became MSNBC. He started.
Yeah, he literally was one of the first people there that made a name for the network when it was nothing back in the 1990s. Right. And so, you know, most people like that, it's like almost like Robin Roberts leaving Good Morning America. You want to send them off with a huge send-off. So the fact that he left mid-show and announced he's retiring, something weird happened in that meeting, and everybody wants to know what exactly happened.
But this is the height of the Me Too era, and we're talking about comments that go back to the 80s, back to the in 1999, he was accused of sexually harassing an associate, an associate or a production assistant, and the network deemed those comments inappropriate. Now, if you would have had that same situation right now in 2020, you would be out, especially a high-profile, high-figure person like that. So, I mean, comment after comment, you know, slip up after slip up. It's 2020.
But I'm wondering, is he getting forced out for old stuff, or is he getting forced out for new stuff, like recently comparing Bernie to a Nazi? Or
well, he said if Bernie takes over, it's like the Nazis taking France, and that was last week, and a lot of people thought that went way too far.
And if it's because he said that, I want to know why, like other people like Allison Morris, who are on the same exact network, who said a racial slur to a lot of people was what they heard, wasn't fired.
You want to know why? Because Black Lives Matter, that movement was what, 2015, 2016? Now it's the Me Too movement. I feel like it's a timing thing.
Well, speaking of that, let's get this last story in, because the LA District Attorney is apologizing right now. Jackie Lacey said her husband is profoundly sorry for what happened yesterday when a group of 50 Black Lives Matter protesters came to her house at around 5:40 in the morning. Video of the moment has gone viral, and a warning to our viewers. It's a little graphic. Take a look at this.
Good morning.
Get off of my porch. I will shoot you. Get off of my porch.
Can you tell Jackie Lacey that we're here?
I don't care who you are. Get off of my porch
get off
right now.
Can you tell
We're calling the police right now.
Good.
All right, there's a lot to break down here. I mean, I have my side. I want to hear your guys' side.
Listen, I don't think showing up to somebody's house is ideal, but these protesters have been peaceful, came completely unarmed, and been saying that they wanted Lacey to talk to them about the Black Lives Matter movement and what she has and has not specifically been doing, allowing black people to pass away on her watch without any prosecution.
But do you think a house is off limits? Because I think at some point you should go to the office.
Yes.
A house is your castle, and that's criminally trespassing.
But maybe they went to the furthest extent because today is primary day, and they wanted to get the message. If you're going to get reelected here, are you going to even pay attention to us? We've been trying to contact you for a year.
If I had been their fake lawyer, because I'm not a real one, I would have had them stand on a sidewalk. It's a really important thing. Now, do I think a gun should come out? No. I would have said the police have been called. I have a weapon. I'm licensed and registered, and I'm trained. Please leave my porch immediately. You don't say I'm going to shoot you like this, because accidents happen.
Okay, I understand that, but at the same time, these people have been confronting this woman in public places. Now you're unannouncingly showing up at someone's door, banging at 5-something in the morning. We don't see what happened before that. As the protector of the house, as a protector of your wife, you are going to come out and you know, you're startled. Who knows? You're not going to be like, hey, babe, get your robe on and get the Post-its. They want to talk to you about this. No, you're going to go out and you're going to get these people off of your property because they are trespassing.
And I think seeing the full video might give us more context, right? Because she's like, please, and then he has a gun waving in her face. Like, we can't understand the full context of that. That looks like a mess. And I understand she's on his property.
Let's talk about it a little more in a break, because I have a side, too. I tend to lean towards Brandon's a little bit more. Of course. You know what I mean? Especially with 2 kids and a wife back there. You don't go to somebody's house, I'm just saying. DBL is live, and coming up, Oscar-winning actor Timothy Hutton is being hit with new rape accusations. We'll tell you who's coming forward and why. Plus, actor Rob Riggle is channeling his inner Indiana Jones. He's telling Tori all about his new show that takes him around the globe in search of adventure. It looks awesome. And you, the viewer, are the fifth host. Who gets the wedding ring when it's time to split up? We're sharing your comments next.
Barb just wrote in and said, no, what you were saying, protesters should never be on your doorstep or your personal property.
Personal property.
So, Jeff, what was your take?
50 people.
I don't care what it's for, because I hate saying take the Black Lives Matter people out of it. I just want to say all people, whether it's a sports coach, whoever it is, whether it's an actor, whoever it is, I'm taking that out. I'm just talking about going to someone's house. You don't go to somebody's house, especially at 5:40 in the morning when you're kind of asleep, you wake up, you're startled. All of a sudden there's I don't know, 50 people are there? 50 people are out on your lawn right next to your door.
But you don't have to open the door if you don't feel like engaging.
Listen, I don't care how peaceful they are. You're on my lawn, right when my kids are sleeping inside, my wife's sleeping inside. Listen, it's your right to have that gun and wave it around if you're on their property. That's what people are. That's what we have the Constitution for.
So is she only apologizing because she's in the middle of an election?
I think so.
She wouldn't apologize.
I believe so.
I also think most people would say you want to pull a gun if you have a perceived threat, right? And it's not just if a stranger came to my door, you don't always pull a gun. It's because when you feel threatened, you pull a gun. From that video, I don't think we saw them threatening them very much, but I totally understand it.
But we didn't see
Right.
we didn't see the knock.
I don't care how peaceful it is. You come knocking on my door at a weird hour, it's a problem. It's a problem.
So let's say someone knocked on your door and was lost and had a tire out and knocked on your door. Would you answer with a gun?
Maybe in my back pocket.
Okay, that's fair, but you wouldn't come out, I'm going to shoot you.
If I look at 50 of them, and they're like, hey, we're just selling candy. Could you come out and talk for a minute? I might have my gun out.
Because you can look at it 2 different ways. One, we said we saw that, 10 seconds of that video. We don't know how they were knocking on the door. You know how many times they knocked. And at the second time, the second part about it, you don't know who these people are. So what if they just wanted you to open up the door so they can bombard it? You don't know if they're there.
And also, when we left out one major point, they're all holding cameras up in your face. So, no matter what you say or do, they're recording you, and all of a sudden, you're like the one on trial here. Absolutely. Listen, I'm just trying to protect my wife. Get out of here. Send me an email.
Office hours are from 8 to 6.
Welcome back to DBL. Time for fifth host, and there are always two sides when it comes to divorce. That's right, and the third side, that's a divorce lawyer. And the debate today is on ring etiquette, and it has you guys fired up. Marriage is usually symbolized with pricey rings that can also have sentimental value, especially if the ring has been passed on for generations. But many states have laws about who gets to keep the ring once the marriage ends. Again, the divorce lawyer. So DBL Nation, who should get the ring after the divorce?
I feel like you have something to say about the divorce lawyer.
I might have a little something.
I think you might. All right, Sierra from Facebook says, I would take the diamonds and make myself a crown because the fool that divorced me lost his queen.
I pity the fool.
Wow, I love that. Look, to me, it's very simple. Just talk it and communicate through beforehand. If you have an asset that large that's multiple thousands of dollars, either talk it out or write it down somewhere on a piece of paper and have someone sign it as a witness, and that's literally legally liable. So I certainly think you should discuss it as adults if something's thousands of dollars. Don't just leave it up to in case. I know it's not sexy, but it's smart.
Okay. Anna from Facebook says, any loser that would divorce me probably would have bought a cheap ring. I say give it back. You married a loser? That's what you're saying. But no, I think our great hair and makeup staff, Destiny, and our stylist, Kiri, told me, like, if it's the woman and it's her grandmother's ring, she should be able to keep it. But if it's the male that gives up his grandmother's ring, that he shouldn't do that, because what if that wife loses it? Not even a divorce, loses it. Now you've lost a prized possession.
Yeah, I think heirlooms should go back to the family.
I think everyone
absolutely.
agrees with that. Well, not everyone. The divorce lawyer.
It's your ring. It's your ring. Monica from YouTube says, I gave the ring back and met this girl at the gym who announced she got engaged. Why wasn't my ring?
Ooh.
Monica, that's foul. That's exactly what I'm talking about. If somebody gives you a ring and it's a gift, that's the thing. It's a gift. It's yours. Part ways and figure something else out. Don't be stingy. Don't be petty. You got married to the person for a reason.
It's not a gift. A gift is a Peloton. That's a gift.
No, come on. A Peloton could cost more than some people's rings.
No,
what do you mean?
This is holy matrimony. This is something for if we get married, then this is what you get. It's like a do this. So
I'm going to defer to the married people on the panel. I ain't listening to your opinions.
Ooh.
Listen here. I'm going to read Angel's comment even though we're out of time right now. Angel from Facebook says, you should keep it and sell it and use the money for a vacation to celebrate being single.
Yeah!
That's how Stella got her cruise back.
It wasn't?
She went on vacation.
With the ring money?
No.
Wait, wasn't she still married when she was on vacation?
I don't know.
Oh, boy.
No, she wasn't still married. You're right, because she found a boo.
I'm not listening to your opinion.
Because I don't know Stella.
All right, we got some good stuff coming up, but we can't talk about it because Brandon keeps talking. We'll be right back. It's a talk show.
I just want to apologize to Brandon. I said I don't want to listen to anything he has to say because he's not married, and I think his opinion is valid. So I want to take that back.
Not even true. Okay.
Allow
We have a
Terry to-
cool life hack here. I don't think she really means that.
Ran over that apology.
No, because I don't think she means it. I think she wasn't going to.
How dare you?
No, his opinion on the marriage thing. He's not married. What does he know?
It really doesn't matter. But I didn't want to be offensive.
Wow, you took that thing pretty quick.
All right, guys. I want to give you some life hacks. Number 736.
Life hack. Don't let you guys.
Wait, everybybody left.
I know everyone left.
I gotta go. Wait,
Okay.
I have to do something on my computer.
That's fine. Everyone can leave.
Sorry.
This happens to me since season 1. Don't worry. Me and Travis will hang out. If you're camping and you need a lamp and you don't have one, take your head. Wait. How? Okay. Take your headlamp and put it against a gallon jug of water, and it'll make a huge light. Do you guys know what I'm saying?
Yeah, illuminate.
You get it? It'll illuminate. Okay. So we're gonna go to the next one. Here we go. In a public bathroom, Travis, what stall is generally the cleanest because it is the least used? The one closest to the door. No one uses that one. So use that one if you're nervous. Okay, we're gonna see you soon. Welcome back to DBL. Actor Rob Riggle is taking on a new mission to solve the world's greatest mysteries. Earlier, I talked with him about his new Discovery series that combines comedy with history. in today's Chatting with the Stars. Good job, guys.
For centuries, the world's greatest mysteries have baffled the world's greatest minds. But you should never send a great mind to do a hero's job.
What the heck is going on around here?
He is Rob Riggle, global investigator.
Rob Riggle, welcome to Daily Blast Live. So your new show is my dream job. You are the modern day Indiana Jones. It looks like the graphic is even the same, searching for things like the Holy Grail and Atlantis. So I need to know what Rob Riggle's #1 thing to find would be. What would you most want to find?
I think it's got to be the Holy Grail,
Yeah, right?
Okay. You know, we're talking about eternal life, if I can drink from it, which I did. I did find a cup, and I did drink from it. And now it's just a waiting game. We'll have to see.
That's hilarious.
Fingers crossed.
Did you feel different when you drank from it? Anything?
I did. I felt a little gassy.
Oh, that's awesome. Who knew that's what it would feel like?
So
that's
I don't.
Amazing. Now, in this series, you scuba dive, you rock climb, you run into snakes. Some people may not know, but I know you are a former Marine, and I mean Marine. How did your military training help you pull off this series?
Oh, there was a couple things that helped, probably the rappelling. Please don't let me die in this canyon. The scuba diving. Just being out in the elements. Solving mysteries, kind of what I do. You know, just a sense of let's get out there and see what happens.
Is there things you didn't want to do and had to talk yourself into?
There was a scorpion dinner that I had to really think about.
Yeah, that turns you gassy too, I heard.
I heard that too.
Sorry. I do want to know, what do you think was the most amazing, most surprising discovery you made while filming?
There's a lot of things around UFOs that I kind of went in a little more skeptical, and I came out a little more accepting of, you know what, there's a lot up there that we don't understand.
Rob Riggle, Global Investigator, premieres March 8th on the Discovery Channel. Rob, thank you so much for your service and for sharing all of your amazing stories with us at DBL Nation.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. He's so cool. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Oh, National Cold Cuts Day. Just to let you into my world a little bit. I know I'm usually not here at this time, but cold cuts. My mom, back when I was a kid, she used to, rush home from her job, check my homework, put me and my brothers and sisters in the car, take us to football practice, Pop Warner football practice, and then after we would go get cold cut combos. So National Cold Cut, go get your cold cut. But most importantly, make sure you all go and vote. You see Tori wearing her sticker, very proud. Now's that time for everyone to go out and vote, especially in 2020 with so much riding on this campaign and this election. I want to get to you all's comments. Let's get to your comments. I'm just going to read these out randomly. I don't know what it's about, but at the same time, we love the way you guys are so interactive. We'll figure it out. Let's see. April Phillips says, I agree with the man, but just not pointing the gun at them. We didn't see the beginning of that clip. I want everyone to always remember that a clip can be edited. Those videos can be edited. We didn't see how they beat on the door. We didn't see how, he asked them to leave from the other side of the door before he opened the door. I want everyone to keep that in mind, but at the same time, it is criminal trespassing if you come on someone's property and they ask you to leave and you do not. So I also I understand what Al Jackson said in other shows about the gun. Once you point that gun, if it goes off, if anything happens at that point on, then your life and your family's life has completely been changed forever. But at the same time, 50 people are at your doorstep at 5:30 in the morning, maybe beating on the doors, who knows? You got to protect your family. Come on, you got to protect your family. You don't know these people. You don't know what's going on. And the wife has been harassed before. Jesse Fair says, hey, I see that too. I'm not really taking sides, more generalized thinking. It's only a snippet. Is no way I'd have enough info to really opinion on it as a whole. Kind of same here as well, but just from what I saw and what I read in the article about how the man's wife, I think the district attorney, the state attorney, has been harassed and confronted in public places. I think that the man kind of acted accordingly. Maybe the gun was a little bit too much. But thank you all for writing in. Thank you, April, for writing back. She says, exactly, Brandon. And Jesse says, good luck, B-Lo. LOL with the heart. Ooh, girl.
Thanks.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing comments. Tori.
A lot of people writing in about the gun story. April Phillips says, right, we don't know the whole scene.
Yeah.
And then Brahmini Ravi says, I think something definitely happens beforehand, because why would the camera randomly come on during the intense scene? So a lot of people saying we can't really figure it out until we see the full video. But again, I'm with everything until the gun is pointed at them and says, I'm going to shoot you, where I think that maybe escalated the situation. But I also get your right to protect your home and your castle.
But politicians are in office to listen to constituents and protect the people. And if they're not doing that and not listening and just pushing them off, like, I think this was like a last attempt.
But they're also
there's more to the story.
Right? And they have a protection of their house, and their rights are still like your rights, and they can't come to your house that way.
How would you feel if the safety was on?
I still would
know.
I still feel like if someone is at the door and they're not threatening me in any way, I might just say, the cops have been called, I'm not coming out.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard when 50 people are rolling up with cameras in your face at 4 or 5 in the morning.
I get that.
All right, guys, here's what's coming up next on DBL.
Oscar-winning actor Timothy Hutton facing new rape accusations. We'll tell you who's pointing the finger and why she's finally coming forward decades later. Plus, Post Malone's face tattoos, it's not just for looks, the real and raw reason behind the ink. And Slang 101, we're helping you stay current on Gen Z lingo later on DBL.
The death toll continues to rise after a set of tornadoes ripped through downtown Nashville and surrounding areas overnight. Take a look at the incredible video coming into the studio showing the damage. Now, I just checked, and at least 19 people were reported dead, but again, that death toll could rise. Now, we know at least 20 others are in the hospital right now. I'll keep you updated. And some news coming in from Apple now. Have you ever had your iPhone slow down after you updated it with new software? Well, apparently you aren't alone. Apple has just announced it's paying up to $500 million to settle a lawsuit related to the issue. If you owned an iPhone 6, 6 Plus, 6S, 6S Plus, 7, 7 Plus, or SE device bought before December 21st, 2017, you can file to get $25 back. Now, of course, that doesn't really help with the $1,000 phone you had to buy when you're slowed down, but hey, I guess any little bit counts. This has been Fast Blast for you. Did you know that we're live during the breaks every hour on our show? All you have to do is go to Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, and I'll be there to keep you updated on all the breaking news and developing stories, and I will keep you updated on the Nashville tornadoes. Bye now.
Prom season is right around the corner, and so is wedding time. So chances are you're looking for that perfect dress for your special day. But the coronavirus could put a damper on your plans. Let's connect the dots. Sometimes we forget just how many of our items come from China. When it comes to special occasion dresses, reports show 80% of those gorgeous gowns get shipped here from the country. With factories shut down to prevent the spread of the disease, it means everything that goes into making a dress is on hold. David's Bridal says their factories are up and running with no reports of the illness. But we called around other shops, and most of them say anyone looking to have their dress in 6 months or less are running out of time. Also, even if you've already ordered your dress, some shipping is delayed until further notice. So if the dress you want isn't already...
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Well, welcome to Daily Blast Live. Before we get started, Lindsay, we're actually just talking right now. You were in Paris for Paris Fashion Week.
Yeah, I just got back. I didn't do some of the tourist stuff like the Eiffel Tower and stuff, but I did go to all the shows and have a good time with my girls.
Now you're making fun of me.
No, I like to do that. It's just that I've seen it before, and I knew I only had a limited amount of time, so I tried to just act like I was there for Fashion Week.
I told Lindsay I love to be a tourist when I'm outside the city. I think it's all right. And then she laughed at me.
I'm a tourist in Denver still. I'm still getting used to it.
All right, we'll talk about it later.
All right.
Arash isn't having it right now. He's not having it. All right, guys, but first we start with some very disturbing news. Actor Timothy Hutton is being accused of rape dating back more than 30 years. Canadian model Sarah Johnston says Hutton raped her in a Vancouver hotel room back in 1983 when she was just 14 years old. She says she reached a $135,000 settlement with the actor, but backed out of the deal because Hutton wouldn't admit guilt. Hutton denies the allegations and says it's all an extortion scheme. Fox also canceled his TV show Almost Family shortly after news of the rape allegations broke. And I just hope Fox did their due diligence in this case. Yep.
And I hope they did because, right, it's years ago, so long ago, but she said that she did try to settle with him and they had a criminal or a court case going on, and she sued him for $1.5 million. They agreed on $135,000, and she dropped it because she didn't want to sign a non-disclosure, which is the conversation a lot of us have been having when a lot of these women who have accused people of harassment and assault have said they want to tell their story. She's now allowed to tell her story, but then, he's losing his job. We just don't know what really happened, right, because they never got it finalized in a court.
Yeah, statute of limitations with rape and all those things is really tricky because you never want to tell a survivor, hey, you have a certain amount of time or else, because some people either A, don't remember, or B, can't get there. They really can't believe it or tell someone. So you never want to say, hey, you kind of need to hurry up and do that. But at some point, to get real evidence and to get real strong memory and witness, the witness statements, you need to say something sooner rather than later in DNA. So this leaves Fox in this weird position. Again, I want to know that they did an independent investigation just like you, because Timothy Hutton has denied this from the very beginning, but it hasn't gone away. So there's smoke there. I just don't know where the fire is.
Yeah, I think we're learning now that there's a statute of limitations when it comes to being charged criminally but not losing your job. And like you say, I really hope that Fox has done their due diligence because the FBI is involved as well. And they have, in this BuzzFeed article, which is long, but this is a very complicated thing. If you go, she's been telling people throughout the years that this is happening. She was 14, and she was with two other 14-year-olds at the time. So this is a very complicated thing. And there was even a point a couple years ago when a former boyfriend of hers went and tried to not so much extort, but tried to settle, off the market, behind closed doors with one of his friends. So that's why, and she said he put her in a situation to where it makes her look bad. Right. So, once again, I think networks and jobs and companies and corporations should have some sort of team their own investigative team
sure they do.
when it comes to this sort of thing.
I'm sure they do. Yeah. All right, guys, last night, The Bachelor broke from its format and addressed online bullying. Rachel Lindsay was the first and only black bachelorette and opened up about the nasty comments she's gotten online. Let's take a look.
No one cares about a half Mexican opinion. I'm shaking as I'm reading this because it's shocking, it's uncomfortable. I know it's uncomfortable for you to see. Just imagine how uncomfortable it is to get this in your comments and your DMs every day, every week, every month.
And other women also spoke up about the hateful messages they received. Let's watch.
A lot of the comments that I got right away off the show was about my hair and my choice of being natural, and it sucks and it hurts. I had so much love come in, and it meant so much to get messages from people saying that it's important to have representation and thank you.
Being a former reality show contestant, it doesn't discriminate. The hate doesn't discriminate on who you are. I understand what these women are going through, probably a lot more than I went through. But you still get hate no matter what your situation is. On reality TV, I should just say TV alone, in general now, and not even TV. I think social media has become such a hateful place that whether you're going to school somewhere or it's in your community, you're getting hate from everywhere. And I think we need to really think about that. We really need to do something as a society to stop it, because I think a lot of I don't even want to go that far, but a lot of teen problems stem from social media.
You can say it, teen suicide.
Yeah, I don't know the stats. I'm not a doctor.
But the stats, you are right on. They've risen incredibly high with social media, and psychiatrists have linked the two as a real issue. So we should say it, that social media can literally cause teenagers, because they don't have the capability and the developmental brain to deal with it.
And as an adult, I could tell you, I still go down that rabbit hole. I don't go on Twitter anymore because it's a nasty, vile place, along with Facebook. I use my Instagram for people who they shouldn't. If people want to follow me and they love me, my wife, or watching me grow in my family and in my business, they should be. I should give that to them. You know what I mean? So I don't totally want to dismiss social media because it's such a great thing, but it's really I'm taking a lot of time here because it affected my life.
But Jeff, I get it, but at the same time, as adults, I'm gonna stay away from the teens. Hey, you know what we know what we're signing up for. You know, if those people are commenting you and writing nasty things about you, the network paid you money, or let's say bring it to sports, the NFL or that team is paying you a lot of money to deliver and to do these things. But that comes with it.
He has to take comments of like, you should die?
It comes with it. That's a person. That's a person
or is
who's
there a line in the sand that
on their couch eating punch and munch, hating on you.
I think that when you're in a public space, right, whether you're on a reality TV show or on this panel, then you are opening yourself up to someone saying, I hate your outfit, or I'm not into, you know, some things that you might be saying on the show or context. But when you start talking about the way somebody looks or their nationality or their race or even like calling Rachel Lindsay the N-word, it brings people back to a space, or saying anything that would go so far to deeply affect them and how they were raised in their culture. That's when you really start to offend people or talk about their family. You know, you start to take it to a different level, threaten their life. And I think that those are some of the things that need to be monitored, because, you know, that's not no way that anybody should be treated. You can disagree with somebody, you can say whatever you want, and people, you don't have to be all nice on social media, but you really don't have to also then try to be so derogatory and threaten people's lives.
I agree, Lindsay, but if someone was to write, you were in Fashion Week, you were you know, sitting not ringside.
Of course, I mean, whatever. I don't know.
Whatever it is,
up close. Up close, yeah.
If someone was to write on one of your comments, oh, you're ugly with your dress and blah, blah, it's because they hate the fact that they couldn't be there.
Right, but if somebody wrote the N-word in my comments, you know that I would be upset still to this minute. Saying my dress is ugly or I don't belong there, cool, but if you call me the N-word, right, then you start thinking about all this racial history and what our ancestors went through to be equal and to even be at Fashion Week, right? Or for Rachel Lindsay to even be on that show, and then it's like, wow, like, just, you know, it just changes the tone for me when they start saying that, and I've seen that happen time and time again. The thing, I feel the same way when they start threatening lives or talking about people's kids. Like, I tell you that all the time when people bring up people's kids, not appropriate. So there's just certain things that should be off limits, and people should behave that way.
But if there was some sort of, if you could monitor it somehow, meaning like if you had some kind of license, social media license, that you had to own your character. Like, we have to own our name because we have a blue check mark, okay? Absolutely. If everyone had some sort of blue check mark on there, and we're seeing a lot of people using the N-words and losing their job, and this society, this culture doesn't stand for that anymore. So if you're throwing that around willy-nilly, and all of a sudden it gets back to your employer and you lose your job, and people are starting to lose their jobs because of what they're writing on social media, it's going to be a different place.
Because remember, we did the story about the woman on Bumble who the guy was like, oh, you're ugly, blah, 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 and she went and wrote not only the dad, but she sent it to his employer as well. So you're saying it should be the same thing.
I just highly suggest screenshotting things like that and make sure you do talk to their employer. You have every right to do so.
If you could find that. And it's not just an egg with one follower. Nice hair, loser. I could talk about this all day. All right, singer Post Malone is getting real about his face tattoos in a new GQ cover story. Post says he gets his face inked because he's insecure about his appearance. He calls himself ugly and says his tattoos make him look cool. So even we're sitting up here talking about insecurities. Even the best of the best, talented, they feel insecure.
I agree with them. I'm not going to try and make this about myself, but I heard you all talking about this early, and I couldn't wait to get up here. All my life, I had crooked teeth growing up. And, you know, I went to 8 different schools in 12 years. I was always being picked on because of my teeth. You know, teeth. I got braces on in college, and when they came off, when I got to the NFL, I made myself as like the playboy, the bachelor boy. That's what my thing was on the team. Hey, go hang out with Brandon London because he's going to have the table. There's going to be women around. And that was an insecurity. That was an insecurity because growing up, Girls wouldn't talk to me. Girls really wouldn't talk to me that much, and people would pick on me because of my, because of my teeth and all. So when I got those braces off and I had a chance to, be fly and, smile and those sort of things, that's how I attached myself. And I'm now realizing now that I'm older that was just an insecurity.
They call it masking, right? And what's so funny is masking is literally a mask. You put a front on to show what you're doing, and Post Malone is taking that to the most literal sense of, I'm going to literally mask up my face because I don't like what's underneath it. I wonder if him saying this, it shows a tiny percentage of regret because he's being open about it. Do you think he's being open about it because he wishes it wasn't there anymore?
I just think in some ways you can, if you go through those experiences like Brandon, it's something that unless he told us, we wouldn't know. But with him, the tattoos are always there.
Yeah.
And so you're going to have to go through a lot to get them removed. So I just think it's a permanent decision that he's making as somebody who's pretty young.
I wonder if he regrets it. I want to know.
I don't know. Psychologically, there's something there for sure. I'm not a doctor, but something's there for sure that he's covering up. And I applaud him for being honest about that. Because we all go through our own securities. But you had to love that song, Crooked Smile, growing up.
J. Cole.
Dude, that's one of my favorite songs of all time.
Oh, you're
Now I gotta go to the club tonight. Now I gotta go to the club
Listen,
tonight.
that would give me, that song, if I had a crooked smile, that would give me confidence. I'd be like, J. Cole's cool
exactly.
Stuff. Right. We told you earlier, Lindsay just returned from Paris Fashion Week, and you saw
Anna Wintour.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. I zoomed in on the back of her head. You see that nice camera skills right there? Look at that. Everyone else watching the show, all the couture outfits, and I'm zooming in the back of this woman's head.
I would have done the same thing.
I was so excited to be in the same room with her.
That's cute.
Tori with a wig.
No.
Tori, you were there?
No, she's the character for Devil Wears Prada. I mean, she is the queen.
I also saw Janelle Monáe and Yara Shahidi, and they're both gorgeous in person. Really? So that was kind of insane. Yeah, people really love fashion, and I was happy to be there. I was like a spectator enjoying it all.
Très bien, awesome. Très bien.
I don't know these things. I just know bonjour.
Oh, it just means great job.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
This is
what Oprah does. Oprah does this to people. Thank you for watching. Okay.
Thanks for watching us. We'll be right back.
Oprah did fall the other day. In the game by herself.
Jesse Ferris, I'm writing in because you were talking about something, and I wanted to tell you guys all this about the laws. She said, hold on, let's go over here.
I feel sad about that story.
Wait, hold on, let me finish. This is really important. Jesse Ferris was saying she just remembered being abused, and so I wanted to let her know there are certain laws on the books now that say, I know, I'm trying to go over here, that your statute of limitations now starts in certain states. Make sure you look it up when you actually remember the event. It's no longer when it happened in certain states. It's called something like le rêve or the memory. It's something in French actually, but certain states allow the statute of limitations again to start when the memory is brought back up, so that you don't lose all that time because you simply didn't remember. I just saw it, I think, 2 years ago, so make sure you take a look. It's something about memories, statute of limitations, and the laws, and I'm so sorry that that happened to you, but you want to be up to date on the newest laws because they're always being written. So again, certain laws, if you've just remembered being abused, don't think you're out of the statute of limitations. It could actually begin the beginning of your statute of limitations starts then. If you don't know, most rape statute of limitations is about 25 years. So if you think you're out, you might not be. So I just wanted to give you guys some hope and some insight that laws are evolving with the psychology, which I think is interesting. All right, back to the craziness.
And she's like, I did all the stuff because I was so hungry.
Welcome back to DBL. What do Baby Yoda and Megxit have in common? As of this month, both phrases can now be found on dictionary.com. If this news catches you by surprise, trust me, you are not alone. Just when we finally understood what spilling the tea and Yas Queen meant, Generation Z comes along with newer slang to make Tori feel older. So, Grandma, crash course in Gen Z slang. That way you can finally understand what your nieces, nephews, and grandkids, what they're talking about. And just so you know, Generation Z is anyone born from 1995 to 2010.
All right, let's do it.
Anybody?
Mike James, is that you?
Stop calling that man out. He said he's not Gen Z.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Gosh, Tori.
So nobody.
Nobody.
All right. First up, when someone has a lot of clout,
they have
like
what does that mean?
Clout, like yeah, like you.
Respect.
Wait,
clout isn't a new word.
No, but it is when they say something about social media clout. You're a clout chaser, they call it. Clout chasing, I think, is to get followers.
Yeah. Clout chasing, like you're doing things just for the likes.
Yeah.
But it derives from the original word clout.
I assume so.
All right. Let's see what it means. If you have clout, you are very popular. So if someone says someone is a clout chaser,
fame hungry, okay.
Fame hungry, yeah. I guess they just.
Do you guys think that clout is a cool name for a little kid?
No.
Okay. Just asking. Okay.
I mean, there's a kid out there named Clout. Good on him. But if you're asking me if you should name your future kid Clout, I'm gonna lean towards no.
Okay. Good call. Okay.
I have no opinion on what to name kids.
Okay, I'll
judge.
You're right.
Never judge. Next up, if you say something and a teenager replies back, weird flex, but okay.
Tori did this to me the other day.
So we were doing the CPK, remember the barbecue chicken challenge for the Copycat Kitchen? Yeah. And she goes in her blindfold, just so you know, I know a lot about CPK. And I'm like, cool, weird flex, but cool. Ooh. And it means like, what a weird thing to be proud of and to stand out on.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So it means like,
good answer.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. You say it to someone who's bragging about something. For example, quote, she told me she needed a vacation after sightseeing Europe for 2 weeks. Hey, like
both me, weird flex.
I said weird flex, but okay. All right. That was a weird example.
Yeah, that was a weird example, the vacationing thing.
Yeah.
I know this next one.
Okay.
Oh, next up, what does the term cap or no cap mean?
Lying or
It means like, yeah, this is all true.
Give me an
cap means you're lying. So like, if Brandon's like, yeah, I just got a Maserati, I'll be like, man, you capping.
No cap.
You capping.
No, he'll say no cap if he really has one.
And he says no.
And I'll say no, you are capping.
Maserati Uber.
Oh. What?
Half cap.
He's just capping. Capping means that you're BSing, basically. I don't know if I can say that.
We already said it.
All right, cap means to lie, like you're hiding underneath your cap or hat. For example, if you want to tell the truth, you'd say, I did all my homework, no cap.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like I really did it.
I did my homework.
So no lie. Yeah.
I'm never using any of these.
No.
Cap is funny. It's in a lot of the songs these days that the kids listen to. That's why I know it.
Never mind. We're going to this one. Next, this strange phrase, sk.
What?
Yeah, you have to say it.
I thought it was SK.
I know, I asked. It just hey, how's it go?
I thought it was what Little Wayne, Little John used to say.
No, it wasn't a C's.
No, don't say it.
I almost choked though. So what does this sound mean?
You're so old, you almost choked on the word.
A piece of got stuck in my.
I think it's like you're calling somebody like, psst.
What?
Like when you call somebody, psst.
Do you guys have a guess?
I don't.
Does
that not make sense?
Like
a new way?
Techno music, something like that?
I thought it's like,
oh yeah,
steak's almost done. Like
the sizzle.
You're playing somebody off, like.
All right, let's see what it means. It means laughter or awkwardness. The idea is that the two letters S and K are close to your thumbs when you text. So when you mash your phone's keyboard in excitement, you get.
I don't get it.
Please don't ever text this to me.
Yeah, I don't really get it still.
Nieces, nephews, everybody.
That's the only one I don't like. I like the rest of them.
No,
I might use them later on today, texting my little brother.
No cap.
You capping.
I'm no cap.
Oh my God.
Roll up. We'll be right back. Welcome back to DBL. Sleeping in on the weekends can actually hurt your health. Huh?
Wow.
Lindsay.
Breaking news for me.
We're talking about it in today's Rise and Thrive, sponsored by So Clean. According to a new Harvard study, if you sleep in 90 minutes later than usual, your risk of heart disease or heart attack can go up. The more your sleep patterns change, the higher risk you have, but you can change your... Listen, you don't sleep in. It's no good for your health. Hang in there. There's only about 6 more paragraphs to go. Experts say exercise and as few as 10 minutes per day of walking can improve your sleep. Cool. Exercise. Don't sleep. Next, get cool. Keep your room between 60 and 67 degrees.
No way.
That's
at least 72.
That's really cold.
It's freezing.
Freezing.
I'll tell you why in a little bit.
That's too cold.
Too cold.
Hold on. No talking. Back to the prompter.
Sorry.
Also, avoid nicotine or coffee after mid-afternoon. That can ruin your sleep. Okay, we got it. And finally, make it dark. Eliminate all bright lights, even the blue light from your smartphone or laptop.
Yes, I agree with
What's that?
Like all lights off, like even the TV light, little red light, turn it off. Unplug it.
But listen, the 60 to 67 degrees, here's why. Because it's nice and cold, but then you bundle up under your blanket.
That's too cold.
And now you feel like you're in hibernation.
No.
It's not too cold.
Yeah.
No.
I don't want to be like, good night.
Right.
I think it's got to be 45.
He smells
A little too extreme. But I like it a good 70.
72.
That's too hot to cuddle.
Really?
It's too hot to cuddle.
What?
Yeah. I need a, it has to be cold to cuddle.
Yeah.
I cuddle.
Me?
You cuddle?
I cuddle hardcore.
Yeah.
Listen, when it's time to go to sleep, don't touch me, go to sleep.
Oh my God.
Listen, I'll take care of business before. But I'm saying, like, when it's time to go to sleep.
Romantic. My gosh, how romantic you are.
What do you mean romantic? You think
Nobody
I
wakes up
love
and
someone
still
more
in
because
cuddle.
I'm
Yeah.
it all in their ear when I'm trying
And
to
no one wakes up still cuddling. You're lying if you say
exactly.
that. You're capping if you say that you wake up still cuddling.
No cap. I cuddle then when it's time to go to sleep.
Yeah, I agree.
Go to your side. I got a California
Listen,
king.
Yeah.
maybe
You don't have a
week of
California
dating,
king.
Do that. After 2 weeks, no more cuddles.
He doesn't have a California king.
Yes, I do.
No, he does not. Probably a regular king at most. You don't have a
let him
California
finish.
king.
We'll be right back.
Come on now, what are you, Shaq?
And for more ways to rest easy, go to SoClean.com or call 1-800-562-3891.
Beauty Blasters, what's up? It's Jeray for the Slay. I've missed you guys so much. I know, y'all miss my face too. I know, the feeling's so mutual, guys. However, I'm back and it's time for some red light tips with your boy Jeray for the Slay. Now, today, it's summer and it's hot out, y'all. It's time to put down that full coverage foundation and pick up a tinted moisturizer. But you don't always have to go out and buy a brand new tinted moisturizer. Sometimes you can make one at home for yourself. So I went ahead and make a little tutorial here, or actually, I'll just show you guys, alrighty? So you're gonna take your full coverage foundation. This one's from Makeup Forever HD. You don't wanna use like a stick or anything like that. You simply wanna use something that's a liquid base and not something that's going to be extremely mattifying. So if you're working with like a oil control foundation, you might want to go ahead and use something that's going to just be full coverage for normal to dry skin. However, what you can do next, if you have that liquid foundation, is take a little bit of moisturizer. I'm just using Embryolisse. This guy's famous in the makeup artist community, so you guys might want to check it out too. And blend those foundations together. Now, you're going to get a much, much more lightweight consistency that's going to be beautiful for that summer glow without having to have that cakey finish in your skin. All you have to do afterwards is tap a little bit with your fingertips and blend all over that beautiful skin of yours. Now, you might want to do a little bit of powder if you're a little bit more on the oily side, like myself, because that tinted moisturizer will make you look a little extra glossy. And we all love a glow, but we don't like to look greasy, y'all, alrighty? Anyways, guys, I want you guys to try this out at home and let me know how it works for you. You can do this with a Revlon, with a Maybelline, whatever you may. Try it out with MAC too. It'll be looking real cute. And this is a great way, once again, to save some money, honey. So let me know your guys' thoughts on this. Write me at Jeray for the Slay on all social media platforms. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Super Tuesday is the single biggest day of voting. Since there isn't a national primary for presidential nominations, this is as close as we get. And we don't have to go too far back to track the tradition. The first Super Tuesday was in 1988, where several southern states scheduled their primaries together to try to nominate someone more moderate. Today's Super Tuesday is more geographically spread out, and it's less about specific regions trying to swing the election. It's become more about a sink or swim test for candidates. And if history is any indicator, the winner of 17 out of 18 Super Tuesdays went on to win their party's nomination. This year, 14 states are heading to the polls, making more than a third of all delegates up for grabs on this day. Super Tuesday is big, but still relatively early in the primary process. There will be primaries and caucuses happening until June.
It's been 3 years since Decorius Jones went into the woods and vanished. 11 Alive investigative reporter Rebecca Lindstrom updates us on the case in DBL's True Crime Chronicles. Join the conversation on the next DBL.
Welcome back to DBL. Before we go, we want to send our thoughts and prayers to all the folks in Nashville and Central Tennessee where a tornado killed at least 22 people and injured several others. Video of the wreckage shows just how powerful this storm was. So we're keeping everyone affected in our thoughts and prayers.
A lot of you wrote in from Nashville that have been watching our show and told us if you're doing okay. And we are interested in hearing directly from you, and we're thinking about you. We know this was really came out of the blue yesterday and really just ravaged the area.
And it just seems like they're getting worse and worse over time. It's just devastating.
You're seeing more in the cities, and you're seeing it more often, and they're worse. So stronger and more frequent is a bad equation for tornadoes.
And I feel like it's a little early for tornadoes to start forming. Usually in the springtime that happens. But our thoughts and prayers with everyone over there. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Go vote!